How long has it been? It's been like 2 weeks, right? Close, 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 close. Like 3 years? No, it's not 3 years. I since moved to OnlyFans. LOL. 3 months? It has not been 3 months. For like 2 years? It has not for like 2 years. Y'all are y'all are exaggerating. Y'all are exaggerating. Oh, I did finish my collection though. Hold on. Eh. I brought this back from Los Angeles. So I finally finished my collection of Rubik's Cubes. I have a 2x2, a 3x3, which is a regular one, a 4x4, and a 5x5. And I can solve all of these. That's right. I'm a genius. I was working on his collection but couldn't stream. True. Honestly, to solve a 5x5. Not that long. Honestly, once you can solve a 3x3, and once you can solve a 4x4 or a 5x5, you can solve like anything in between like a 5x5 and like a 10x10. It's just a matter of like how long does it take you to do that. You know what I mean? I would say up to like a 7x7, right? I assume. Because I don't know about 13x13. I'm not doing that. The algorithms are the same, just takes a lot longer. There are a lot of similar algorithms. It is a little bit more difficult because um the higher up you go, you have to like keep certain parts of it steady and not change that while changing other stuff. So it's like a whole thing. The photos are removable tile ones. They're actually not, funnily enough. But I can solve it on stream. Not on this stream. I'll probably do it on Not the Black if I was to do it on Not the Black. Oh, also, slight magic update. I bought a set of magic, a magic pack this morning. I just flew in this morning, and I pulled this card. It's like a foil Bruce Banner card from the new superhero set. This card is $9. It's also double sided, so that's Hulk on the back. This is a $9 card. This entire pack cost me like $6. And then I got freaking Thanos, which is the $3 card. All that magic. Why is Magic making Marvel cards? You are asking questions that a lot of people who play Magic ask. So, and we will be playing Magic on the second channel. So we'll be doing some arena. We'll be doing some commander nights at some point. We're doing more content on the second channel. So if I retire this channel, then you know that you'll get some content that is less, uh, you know, gut wrenching. With the third channel, nobody's found a third channel yet. So that was stupid, but I bought it. I am the problem. You're playing with the cards. There are a few ways you can do commander. We'll look at it on the second channel. I love the collabs that Magic does. I wish Magic did collabs with Dragon Ball Z. I would throw all of my dollars to play like an Android 17 card. It'd be sick. You know what I mean? It'd be cool. I want an Aura farm with Piccolo. Elden Ring would be cool too. They did Final Fantasy, all right? So like, I think if they did Final Fantasy and Assassin's Creed, Elden Ring is not like an impossible reach. But knowing how like litigious Toei is, like when it comes to like the Dragon Ball like anime and properties and stuff, like I can see the IP not being shared around too much. On Monster Hunter, I can see Monster Hunter happening, and it does seem cool. I would rather have Monster Hunter than having 6 different Marvel sets. You know what I mean? Where they make cards with current political figures. I would buy. Do you know how much money the Zoro Mamdani card would go for? Yeah, I made a tweet. I don't know if you don't follow me on Twitter, because you're off of Twitter, that's fine. If you're on Twitter, you don't follow me on Twitter, you're racist. But I made a tweet yesterday. That tweet got 187,000 likes. It was a crazy amount of It wasn't a platinum tweet. I don't talk about platinum. Decided to have an actual good platinum take though, which is kind of funny. So maybe we'll look at that as well. After we get into the news. Leaving that tweet before boarding your flight. See, Sarah's a real one because if you watch me, you know that like I make all of my banger tweets before boarding flights. I didn't actually. This tweet was made the day before I had to board my flight. Unfortunately, I'm saying that you should get a platinum Magic the Gathering card. I would rather die. You talk about platinum in the gaming streams? No. That's actually kind of part of what I want to talk about here today. So, what's up, Demasius? With the link. Hate that the day I have to write Aaron, you're gonna do Platinum Power Hour after a 2-week break. I'm not doing Platinum Power Hour. That's not happening. It is a banger tweet though. Here. This was the tweet if you didn't see it. Buzzing Pop said New York City Mayor Zoran Mamdani says that does not support changing the Constitution to allow him to run for president. I think the Constitution looks great the way it is. And then I said, but for context, this had 37,000 likes. I said, a leader who does not want the crown is the one who deserves it the most. On Black Pop Base, I would not be doing that. Pop Base is still blocked. And it's got 191,000 likes. This is actually, I think this is my second most liked tweet after the Kendrick Lamar one. And that one's not being topped. Like my Kendrick Lamar tweet got like 700,000 likes. That's not being topped. That tweet is forever cemented in being like an insane. Like yesterday when it was at 30K. Yeah, it really blew up overnight. Got 191,000 likes. 4 million views. Then I said no, but seriously, my rights were an addendum to the Constitution that should change like 30 times. We should change it every other Tuesday if it means moving forward towards a better world. Stagnant waters breeds the most parasites. Also, W. You know, I have to drop a quotable. I have to drop 2 quotables. Right? Because this quote I put in quotation marks. It's actually me. I said this, and then I looked it up specifically to see if anybody else has said this. People have made similar take before, but I did say this. I made this up specifically. So if you use this, just know, quote me specifically. I also made this up too. Stagnant water breeds the most parasites. Also my quote. Software engineer too, of course. I wear a lot of hats. If you've ever known the turn of phrase, jack of all trades, master of none. Everyone goes so hard. Thank you. Centers are gonna hate this. That's like me. I'm like jack of all trades, master of none, right? I'm just think there's a Chinese proverb that said it first. Probably. Did you coin that too? Honestly, why not? Sure. Better than a master of one. I've never heard that addendum to that phrase. But like I started out as a software engineer, then I got into politics, being a political commentator and Twitch streamer, and I'm getting out of. I got out of. Okay, so I started as a software engineer. I got out of software engineering to go full time and doing being political commentator and a Twitch streamer. I got out of being a political commentator and a Twitch streamer to go back to school to get a master's degree in political science. And after I finished my master's degree in political science,
Sean the Black says she's my African princess.
Spoiler alert, I'm going to law school.
Just subscribed. SDABL.
For a while, I'm getting my master's degree. I'm taking the LSAT in August. And what I do after that, who knows? The world is my oyster. No Howard? No, I will be going to Howard as well. The full phrase is jack of all trades, master of none, better than a master of one. Really? going to law school as well. That's what the plan is, at least. Good, we sign up for a Twitch class. There is no Twitch class. And Streamer U, I'm not going to Streamer U. What happens when you graduate into the worst job market? Bro. Eradicate the 99% of the planet. That's kind of like my goals. You know, I don't really. And this is what I think is funny because we talked about that the one Twitter Marxist being like, don't go to school, drop out of school or whatever. And like, I personally find fulfillment in like pursuing knowledge. You know? And so if I see something that I want to learn, I'm gonna go learn it. You know, I'm gonna go achieve that. Mighty Shaka Zulu looking for the 2 months. Always be learning, true. Um but yeah. Could just be reading computer articles instead of school. Lame. Gonna be a law professor at Streamer University. That would be funny. For now. And so when I graduate, because I mean I've always said this before, because I want some kind of terminal degree. And so if it's not gonna be a PhD, which for being real, your job prospects getting a PhD are kind of limited, specifically getting a PhD in political science. Like there's not much you can like reach for in terms of job prospects, right? But as an attorney, right, I can use both my political science masters and a law degree to like do like labor law and like fight on the behalf of employees against corporations to get them unionized. You could degree Makasan, true. So I'm getting an accountant one and a CPA. Or you see a training Stream University? Honestly, probably not. You sure? I feel like you're gonna overtake us on someday. I don't want that, honestly. This is true. This is gonna be me. I will be Gary. And this is me, and all of my degrees will be in different fields. You know what I mean? I also I think I told somebody this. I don't remember who I told this. But I said I think it'll be hilarious, right? I think it would be hilarious to have one STEM degree, right? A computer science bachelor's degree, one humanities degree, to have a master's degree in political science, and then one like a law degree, you know, as my terminal degree. Either that or going to like med school, getting an MD. And I don't want to do that. But I think it'd be hilarious to do that. You're going for an assistantship to help pay for grad school. Listen, I can't say what I want to say about the state of higher education and funding and who got us here in the first place. So I won't say that. But just know that the state of higher education and funding is not great. Are you going to pay for grad school? I have my first year covered. After that, bro. Right. This is also kind of what attracts me to law school a little bit. It's because law school is technically a professional degree and not a um like a graduate degree, which means for federal aid, you can take out 50,000 in federal loans instead of just 20,000. And so it's actually technically cheaper for me to go after my master's degree and get a law degree than to go and get my PhD in the same field. You know what I mean? That's kind of crazy. Pay for the whole PhD if you answer that kick DM. Anyway, Um, there's a few things that I want to cover. I want to cover this Fizz tweet on Ludwig. I think it's funny. Um, I will be objecting. Indeed. Indeed. Um, I want to cover. We'll cover a Hartzell on Hassan stream a little bit. We'll cover this Hassan. Oh, and the Podjons situation on Platner. We'll cover this briefly. But also, I'm not covering birthday cards. And then this is what I wanted to start with. I wanted to start with something that I realized over this last. Yeah, I'll take Platner off the thing screen or whatever. Also Daria Lisa in that conversation too. I've seen some of the Taylor stuff. But also, that's like freaking. Again, I've been gone for like 2 weeks. That's like 2 week old conversations. But what I want to talk about briefly is something that I realized over my 2 week break. Because my first 2 week break of the year was in April, I believe, where I took 2 weeks off during April because I just felt so fed up with the space. Right, and so that break wasn't even like rejuvenating because I was like I held so much resentment to the space and to like white leftism and that entire conversation. I'm not gonna relitigate it, right? But over the last 2 weeks, one, I've been busy. I've been packing and cleaning and what else I've been doing? Freaking packing and cleaning and coordinating housing and talking to people. That's a whole bunch of stuff. And setting for LSAT, which is our, a whole separate thing. But something that I realized is that I've been like insanely cynical for like the last, I don't know, 2 years. I think specifically since like 2024 with that entire election situation, Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party. And I think that cynicism has just been like doing insanely. I mean, yes, I don't think I was wrong, right? I don't think I was incorrect about anything that I've said. I don't take any of it back, and I do still stand by everything I said. But I realized that I couldn't continue, like, one, creating content, but two, living life with that level of cynicism. And so it's just something that I've realized and something that I will try to be better about. Right? Because like what is I don't know, like what's the point of even doing this, right? What's the point of even like doing political coverage in the first place? If like that's the output, And so it's just something that I thought about. Again, I don't think I was wrong about anything that I've said. And I do stand by everything that I said. I stand by all the Platner stuff. I stand by all of my critiques of like electoralism and all of that. And I think it came to a head a few days ago with like the New York City slate elections, right? And like the day before, or like 2 days before, a few days before, I was at an event with a bunch of other creators, right? And I saw how like excited they were, right? And I was like, I don't know how I get from where I am to getting to that level of excitement, right? And doing that without compromising what I believe is important, right? But like I want to feel that, you know what I mean? And I don't know where that line is. Like I don't know how getting to that that point of understanding that things are bad and understanding that things uh you know they need to be better, but also having the energy in order to get yourself there. And so that's something that I was kind of thinking about over my break, right? You see the victories at the end of the journey. You see at the beginning. That's the difference. Yeah, I don't know. It's something that I thought about, and I don't think it changed the fact that I, you know, still don't really want to be a part of the space, like in general, like in generality, right? Where it's like I don't see like my presence in the space as doing what I want it to do. I won't say that I don't think it's been beneficial, right? And I think one avenue of that is I do think Hassan has gotten better. I'm not gonna say it's because of me. I'm not gonna take credit for like Hassan, uh, being more
I live like a
uh,
capitalist every single day, Shank.
I don't know,
I live as a capitalist. Okay?
reflective,
I live when I
reflexive
Iggy's does
of
just
like
subscribed. I wish you luck with that. The cost of
things,
being in this space every day
but
and
I
staying up on it
do
can be great, but it's nice
see
having your voice
that
on the equivalent of
things
modern
have
radio.
gotten better in that regard. Um, you know, and so I think that's interesting. But like I still don't necessarily know what I want my output to be in general, which is why, go back to school, figure it out. It's kind of like the the easiest solution. But that's something that I have to think about, I have to figure out, you know? So I don't know. In the combos you've been having have changed how Hassan talks about things. Definitely noticed on the stream. We had Chatter bringing up the New Deal. That could have also been
every single day, Shank. I live as a capitalist. Okay?
FTC Environment. FTC Environment has also talking about
King
the
Broken just subscribed. You probably have had some
New Deal,
influence there,
you know?
TBH.
So there's also, speaking on this front, I do want to cover this specific thing, right? Because I think this is like this situation kind of exemplifies exactly what I was talking about here a little bit. Someone who's been through today because electoral cycles often devastating and heartbroken by outcomes. Being really cynical is intelligent, but embracing the win in that moment is glorious and should be celebrated. I think my issue with that comes from the fact that there are liberals who are like taking ownership of this win, right? And I'm afraid of like what that means and how that will materialize, right? Which is why I say I don't think I've said anything like wrong or that I disagree with, that I stand by it. But I still think everything that I say is applicable, right? Whether it's 2 years down the line or 3 years down the line or 5 years down the line, right? I think there's going to be a reckoning of like the DSA as an organization is more popular, but things don't meaningfully shift because liberals are trying to co-opt it. And I think what happened with the Podjons and John Favreau specifically is a perfect example of liberal co-option of like DSA candidate. You know what I mean? So I just want to show you this and just so you can see what I'm talking about.
What is the Democratic Party if not its voters? And what we saw yesterday evening were Democrats across the city turning out and voting for a new kind of politics.
A slate of 3 candidates endorsed by Zoran Mamdani won their Democratic primaries in deep blue House districts. In the 7th district, Democratic Socialist Claire Valdez won the open seat over a pretty progressive opponent endorsed by the retiring Democratic member of Congress. In the 10th district, Progressive City Comptroller Brad Lander defeated incumbent Dan Goldman in a race that was largely about Israel. Both men are Jewish. Lander ran as a self-proclaimed liberal Zionist, but hit Goldman on voting against legislation to block military aid to Israel and taking money from pro-Israel lobbying groups. And then the biggest upset of the night, 4-term Representative Adriano Espaillat, head of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, and the first undocumented immigrant to serve in Congress, lost his Harlem Bronx district in an upset to a leftist community organizer named Daria Liza Avila Chevalier, a Democratic socialist who also believes in abolishing prisons, police, and all deportations. She might be the most left-wing candidate to ever win a Democratic primary in our lifetime. There's been a lot of focus on her old tweets, which she has deleted and mostly apologized for. I'm fine with that. My general position is to give people a chance who want to take back something they said or posted. Certainly would love to take back things that I've posted. Here's where I have a problem. She has not apologized for attending an anti-Israel rally on October 8th, 2023, a rally that was condemned by Zoran Mamdani, AOC, and Brad Lander. The other problem I have, she sat for an interview with the New York editorial board last week where she said she's against all deportations. She's for open borders because, quote, bordering is a very modern construct, actually. She wants to abolish prisons and refused to say, when asked, she got 4 different chances on this, refused to say that a convicted murderer should be sentenced to any jail time at all. Maybe she turns over a new leaf in Congress and like her voting record doesn't match some of these more extreme positions. I hope so. But I think the reason I bring this up is because when Democrats get questions about this, I think the answer is easy and important to give, which is that she currently holds a range of views that go from moronic to abhorrent. And not only those views not align with most Democrats in the country, nearly all Democrats in the country, actually most elected Democratic socialists, but like, I don't even think they align with like a lot of the people who probably voted for her. So like, I think people should you just got to say that.
Like, there's something I can say about this, right? But I'll let Hassan say it specifically for me in this regard.
That right now is exterminating people.
Like, I was thinking about this, like with Jon Favreau shitting on Daria Liza the other day, but also being a massive advocate for Graham Plattner. And it's like, dude, how are you gonna hand wave away a fucking totem cough while simultaneously be like, Daria Liza is an anti-Semite because she went to a pro-Palestinian rally on October 8th. Like, that's crazy. I feel like I'm losing my mind a little bit, you know? Like, that genuinely doesn't make sense.
I mean, and this is what I've said consistently about Graham Platter. This is not Platter Power Hour. I'm not going to cover it much, right? But this is that's the crux of like what I've been saying about Graham Platter that people have been yelling about me, you know? Not even just about Graham Platter himself or specifically, it's about the way that people treat Graham Platter compared to like even more left-wing people in Congress, right? Graham Plattner versus like Chris Rabb, right? Graham Plattner versus Daria Liza, you know? Like, it's just, it's weird. It is weird about the level of grace. This is exactly what Chris Rabb said in his Breaking Points, right? He said, if the Graham Plattner gets the grace that he gets because he's white. And that is, it's true. You know, it's true. Like, you as a black person, a brown person, a person of color, or a marginalized person in general, if you are correct too early, people are gonna be like, why were you right so early? That's weird. I don't know how I feel about it. You know what I mean? But again, it makes sense because like Jon Favreau came around to realizing that Israel was bad around the same time that Graham Plattner came out and started to announce his campaign, you know? And so he was like, well, that's good enough for me. Because that's when I came around to this conversation. But it's like, I don't know. It's weird. It doesn't matter about your Plattner take because your analysis assumes that leftists are treating Plattner the same way that Pa John treat Plattner. Well, they are. That is kind of the point. They do. And the leftists that don't do that, now I'm not talking about. Right? But like leftists do exactly what Jon Favreau was doing here. You know? Exactly the same thing. Those aren't leftists, those are liberal. I mean, sure, but there are people like Cristobal from Breaking Points. There are people like Ryan Grimm. There are people like Kyle Klinsky. If those people aren't leftists, right, to you, and they're liberals, then like you don't hold the same position that most people hold about like Kyle Klinsky. People think that Kyle Klinsky is a what's it called? Is a leftist, you know? People think that Ryan Grimm is a leftist. Right? And they're the people who are doing exactly this. Right? And we saw Cristobal literally do it like last month to do this exact same thing to Chris Rabb. Right? When Chris Rabb raised this exact objection. Right? The way that leftists treat and cover Graham Plattner it is different. Right? He's offered a level of grace and charitability. It's not even just leftists, right? Liberals also do it because Jon Favreau is not a leftist, he's a liberal, right? Because it is a manifestation of white supremacy. You know? Also, I gotta get to Ludwig as well. But the point that I was making is that like these problems are still here. They are still of a concern, right? And like this is why like I'll be like lurking in like Hassan's chat sometimes. Depending on what content like playing. Like I don't watch the Jubilee stuff. I refuse. I popped in when Mason was on the screen one time, like 2 days ago. Because it's Jubilee. But you know, I will say like I also think that like the chat is changing just a little bit. Mostly because I think at one point he was watching a Kyle Klinsky video and a lot of chatters were like, oh, dark woke commander, right? That's normal. Like that's what chat does. They are hive mind. But I did see like, a chatter say like, y'all stop with the dark woke commander stuff. You sound like liberals. And I was like, I respect you, chatter. I don't even recognize your name. So I don't even know if you were in here. But like, respect. Besides what Sean chatter, they're doing my part. But yeah. So that in general is just kind of like how I've been feeling over the past 2 weeks. It's like, I don't know. I've said it before and I said it again. Like I'm not against like electoral, I'm not against like DSA candidates winning. I think it's good that DSA candidates win. Right? It's just like when like people like Jon Favreau can step out and be like, guys, I'm on the team, right? I'm so happy that some of the DSA candidates are winning. 2 out of 3 of them are winning. Like, and that's frustrating because like they're the people that will get the motion. They're the people that will take the reins because they already have the established platform. You know what I mean? so they can show up late to the party, drink all the beer, right? And get hyped up in the middle of the dance circle kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, and that's kind of what happened. Right? And it's kind of what has happened. Like historically. And that's just my fear of the focus on electoralism. Right? I also understand that the electoralism is one part of the DSA, right? I think that's I've seen a lot of conversations about this, about the organizing aspects of the DSA. That's just not given as much shine as electoralism because it doesn't feel as like impactful in the moment. Right? Like if for like 2 months there can be this huge burst of like Hassan's whole community helping to get somebody elected, it feels like you're doing work, right? But organizing oftentimes, and if you're an organizer, you know this, organizing oftentimes does not have that like that payoff, right? It's not like a stand-up bit. There's not a setup and an immediate payoff. There is seeding the seeds, right? Sowing the seeds. And you have to like do work to actually make them grow. Right? And that's a lot harder to realize the impact of. And so it doesn't get as much like attention. This is probably why the electoralist wins, but I want to learn more about the organizing. Thanks to your influence. Thank you, Neon Cat. The payoff is more work. Yeah. I started watching Deculturation in your absence, got way too black pill to come and make sure there's something your balance after DSA wins. I'm really enjoying the decolonization theory that he's got me reading though. Yeah, and I think that's another part of it where it's like not deculturation specifically, but like I think what I realized was being on Twitter, right? And seeing, to a certain extent, seeing that, like, I don't know. Honestly, I think it's just seeing all the bad Abaddon accounts. He needs to stop making accounts. I think he deactivated them. But it's like, I can't even remember specifically what tweet it was. I don't know if I saved it. Right, but I saw a tweet and I'm just like, okay, that's kind of silly. You know what I mean? I don't even remember what the tweet was specifically. I don't know. I don't remember. But it was basically just like, it's like I don't think that like I think that there needs to be some contingency to make sure that pull like the people who are full like hope filled back in to like realism world, right? But I don't think that needs to come with like admonishing any sort of gains in you know what I mean? Any sort of gains in like leftism or even like democratic socialism being more popular. I think that is a positive thing, regardless of how you feel about electoralism, you know? And then sympathetic, the turb thumbnail should have had 100% of people unsubsubbing. I don't even know what the thumbnail you're talking about is. Remember a lot of what Boots was talking about. Yeah, we covered some of it here, right? And it's kind of that. There's a balancing act in that discussion. You know? There's a balancing act in that discussion. And so I think people who are like, the only thing that matters is that we get bodies into seats of Congress, I think that's still silly. But I think that it's also silly to be like, you know, like okay, I think perfect example is like ACP a little bit, right? Like ACP, I think I recently saw, like the leader of the ACP say something about oppression or whatever. It was like, you're only oppressed if you can see your oppressors. It's not like oppression's not like, I don't know. It was some weird stuff. It was basically like Palestinians are oppressed because they can see Israel like dropping bombs on them, right? If you're not that, you're not oppressed or whatever. I'm like, that's like just not what oppression is. And so like, it's just like kind of like that, where it's like, there has to be like some middle ground between like thinking that electoralism is the end all be all and being like, listen, I don't know. Yeah, like whites only socialism kind of thing. These you guys on Reddit are also pro-Russia. That's not necessarily surprising. Right. I do think the Russia-Ukraine conversation as it pertains to like leftism is interesting, specifically as it pertains to progressive victory. Wait, okay, hold on. Sorry, positive news. I don't know if this is the case. Somebody needs to fact check this, please. Did the Supreme Court strike down Trump's birthright citizenship executive order? Yes, 6-3. It's true. Oh, W. That's good enough for me to break my current conversation about. Like that is a good thing. It's positive. You get like 3 L's in one day, and we are not going to hear the end of it. Status quo W, yeah, it shouldn't stay as status quo W. Like it should be, because you tried to do this, we throw you in jail. You know what I mean? Like that's what I want from my electoralism. PV said Daria Lisa the day before primaries of Hassan Haysom. Now, wait, stop. Did Hassan cover that? Okay, you have to show that to me. You have to show that to me just because, right? I don't like being like, I told you so very often. I like feeling like that, but I don't like saying it very often. But I will say it about about progressive victory. Right? Because I covered progressive victory like a few months ago, specifically. And I said, do not trust these people. And people got mad at me. The hates over Ukraine, which is silly, right? It's silly. Because it's like, okay, this is what I don't understand about the Ukraine thing, right? This is what I don't understand about the Ukraine. You can't make an allegory or an analogy between Ukraine and Palestine because Ukraine is an American ally. We give them weapons, right? It's not analogous, literally at all. We do give them weapons. We give them aid. We help Ukraine in their, and so does the EU. Yes, they are a Western-backed entity. Like, and this is not to say that Ukraine should just like roll over and die or whatever, but like, it's not the same conversation of like America giving Israel the weapons to commit its genocide. You know what I mean? Like, that's just not the same case. Do not give Palestine weapons like we do for Ukraine. So we could call Palestinian for wanting to not sell weapons to Israel.
I live like a capitalist every
They may be thinking about the 7 months.
I live as a capitalist. Okay.
It's also that's also something Progressive Victory said. I'll get to the Caroline clip as well.
Just subscribed.
I'm all over the place. You can tell that I haven't streamed in a while because I'm literally all over the place. Also, I love Caroline. I will always defend Caroline. Somebody find me the Hassan Progressive Victory clip. No, we all. Of course you do, Katie, because you abandoned me and went to be a mod for Caroline. Jump ship immediately. Frame 0. Let the stream one time for Caroline. One time. Sure. Sure. You touched on it briefly about finding a timestamp. Thank you. Right. I do, but I do want to say, right, before I get to this Caroline clip, I do want to say that I do think Hassan has definitely gotten better. as it pertains to the things that I was criticizing of like him specifically, but also like this space, right? Like there's a clip that I saw about Hassan talking about like Summerlee, right? Hassan having like a Heart Salon stream. Like I think he's gotten better about black leftists in general and black socialists, right? I think he's gotten better about doing better than like I think the not the DSA, but like the wider left does about like focusing on races that are not just like on the bicos, right? Like, yeah, he also says things that I think that I say here as well. Do you think it's because he's been around a lot of black DSA candidates? I don't think it's because, I think it's the opposite, right? I think it's the opposite causality. I think he's around a lot more black DSA candidates because he wants to be better. I think Chris Rabb really kind of broke that through to him, right? Where it's like, you know, oh, black leftists can actually like win this, you know? Like we have good inroads we can build going and you know tying with black leftists. Right? Because if you watch the stream, he was very worried about Chris Rabb not winning, right? Because you know it was like one of the bluest districts in the country. Like it would be like a very establishment coded, right? And so I think Chris Rabb winning, right, kind of showed it to him like, okay, we can do this kind of thing. Is the case that there was a sizable amount of black socialists running for office right now, or do you think it's a conscious decision on his end? I don't think that there's like more black socialists running now than usually run, right? They just have a better opportunity to win because people are giving them a chance. Does that make sense? Like black socialists run every election cycle. You know? Yeah, there's more exposure. And I think Hassan has done better at adding to that as well. As unbelievably as right now. True, that's it. Dems are so down. They are so down. Yeah. I think this is the perfect chance. I think the DSA, this is where my criticisms of like Green Party have come in, where it's like there's just not enough. Like this should be a moment where the Green Party has had its infrastructure building for the last 10, 20 years and can do a full push into getting people elected, right? Like in my opinion, the Green Party's candidates should be beating out like DSA candidates. It should be Green Party versus DSA candidates in the general election for every single one of these races, right? Sometimes the Green Party wins, sometimes the DSA candidate wins, like, and that's how it should have been. But there's just not enough infrastructure, right? Because they haven't built that infrastructure. There are some like Green Party candidates around, but it's not enough, right? It should be way more. We should have more PSL candidates. I didn't mention PSL because PSL has its own problems going on right now. This is not a great time for PSL. They have their own things happening at the current moment. So it's unfortunate, right? I don't wish failure on any of these organizations, right? Like I want them all to succeed because I think the wider left benefits from having a diversity of choice. Having the PSL has, I think it was like, I don't know if it was a founder or like one of the leaders of PSL like split for the organization and then wrote like a manifesto about like why PSL sucks now. It was like a whole thing. I didn't read it. I just saw that and I was just like, oh, that's not good to happen during an election cycle. We have to the year for the 3 months. If we wait until at least September before talking about PSLs. Oh, pumpkin spice lattes. I understand. We better just wait for Jill Stein to get more money every 4 years. I don't necessarily agree with that. What? Alito is retiring? Has he considered waiting until 3 years? 3 years from now? Does he have another 3 years in him? Let me tell you, okay, if the Democrats do not stonewall, I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know if they can do it, right? But if they do not freaking stonewall the appointment, like, we're cooked, right? They just retracted it. Wait. NPR like just retracted this article right here that we see on the screen. It was like it dropped 10 minutes ago. What is going on? They did? What is happening? NPR assassinated the person who released it. Sorry, we lied. Whoopsies. Refresh. What is happening? Okay, I see. This is why I'm a genius. I at least kept the article open, so we can read it at the very least. Here, I'm gonna hold on. I want to save this PDF. Wait, hold on. Let me not. Oh yeah, you would have just seen my vaccine history that I need to upload to school. Hold on. What is it called? Okay. Screenshot it? No, I just put it into a PDF. So I have a PDF of the article now. That's so funny. It was published in error. Okay, no, he's retiring. Like they just pushed it too quickly. I can see the article. Or they got it too quick. Maybe it was like a draft they were supposed to send to the editors and then actually hit post. Bro, it's something that doesn't really happen nowadays. That's hilarious. That's really funny. Please write comments to pre-publish retirement and death announcements to be the first to story. That's so funny. That is hilarious. I'm sorry. That is genuinely hilarious. I also, it's good if he's not retiring, by the way. Like, that is a good thing. Because we don't need Trump to appoint like another fool to the Supreme Court. We don't need that. Right? We live in the bad timeline, but hopefully not the worst timeline. You know, Little and Thomas are both expected to retire their offices just I say possibly not this year. Nina Oldenburg, absolutely pre-published her right before. She was supposed to in Blue Alito's retirement announcement. It's still pretty funny. Yeah. That is really funny. I love that. Not funny if it happened, but it's funny that like it was pre-published, you know. Hold on, where's the Hassan clip? I want to look at that as well. And then we'll get the Hassan clip and then we'll get the Caroline clip.
That's why I was so mad at Progressive Victory, like randomly being like Daria Lisa and Claire Valdez are ambiguous about their position on Ukraine. And
also Rob Perk, thank you for the prime 3 months. And Momentai, thank you for the 6 months. Shaquin Shaw, thank you for the 16 months. Broken, thank you for the 11 months. Iggy Does, thank you for the 3 months. Mango Breeze, thank you for the prime 37 months. Mighty Shakazulu, thank you for the 2 months. Much appreciated.
And they have to be more in tune with the American State Department. It's one of those things where it's like, here's why the Track Ukraine stuff doesn't hit the same as like Track APAC, right? I know they're trying to like LARP as though is track AIPAC. Not to say that like Russia's actions are total. Russia's actions are justifiable or anything. They're not, right? They're not. Russia's actions in Ukraine are totally unjustifiable. There are plenty of war crimes, and it's an illegal invasion of a sovereign state. Okay, but Ukraine gets support from the West. So all you're doing at that point is to try to, I guess, demand more support from candidates that might not have the exact same opinion on this issue as like Lindsey Graham. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you can't yell at people that want diplomacy on that front. That's an insane position to advance.
Yeah.
It's an insane position to turn.
I mean, that's my take on Progressive Victory as well. I think I literally just said that today. True. What's up to Flatwater? Oh, you're right. I should put something over his face. This is not Power Hour. Also, I will not be doing another Grand Platter Power. Right? Do I regret the first one? No. I think it was funny. Right? Would I have done it? Like, would I do it again? No. Would I have done it again if I go back in time? Maybe, because it was funny. I've said my piece on Grand Platter. Also, I think I had a really funny post on Grand Platter and Daria Lisa. I can find it. Bro, I know I posted it somewhere. I think I posted it in the Discord. So I can find it. Trying to see if I can find it. Maybe he deleted it. Maybe it was on his second. I don't know where it is. Am I going crazy? I'm trying to find it, bro. Am I going crazy? Chat, if you're in the Discord, can you please look for a tweet that I sent from Austinox into the Discord? Oh, I found it. It was this. The person said, my dream presidential ticket, low key. I'm being 100% serious. Then it was Graham Plattner and Daria Lisa. And then Austinox said, she'd be fully within her right to pepper spray you, and then him for this. Thinking that all deportations are evil lady would campaign with a former Blackwater operator, and I even want him to win. True. I keep this open. Here, we'll get to the Caroline clip on the they think I'm voting for Platter without glasses on. They're fools. True. I'm only voting for people who have glasses. It's been a tried and true method that works every time. You have to wear glasses in order to win. I don't have my glasses here, so I can't. I'm gonna lose my election.
Something that
So what's up, Andre?
I didn't see. I don't see people like Pod Save Bros talk about Jon Favreau, who just on his podcast expressed how he has a serious problem with the fact that Daria Lisa Chevalier has not apologized for attending anti-Israel protests on October 8th. You know what
Like, also apologize to who? Number of grand mentions in the chat when I saw had Hearts on drove me mad. I didn't see the grand mentions. And is at large, I guess. Maybe to him specifically.
Can I just say about the Pod Save Bros, especially like a Jon Favreau, since he's kind of to me, John is Pod Save America. He's a fucking loser. He's a loser who has tried to pretend as if he is really morally consistent and that he has, he's open to dialogue and all that. He's a loser. Fuck him.
Thanks, Frosty. I appreciate that. Do y'all actually watch the VODs on YouTube? I guess on Twitch too, technically. No, LOL. Isn't that while I'm driving? I'm so sorry. You watch the videos, I don't catch live. Oh, I will be making more YouTube videos when I'm in Washington, D.C. I'm not surprised at how many VOD frogs exist because we never hear from them. It's internal bias. Yeah, that's true. So I'm asking people who are watching me live right now, like, VOD frogs are probably going to be watching the VOD and being like, oh, wait, I'm doing that right now. Everybody wait to the VOD frogs. They won't hear you for the next, 2 weeks until they are like, I'm going to go back and watch that VOD I missed.
Fuck him that he's still doing History Started on October 7th. Fuck that guy. John is smart. John's a smart guy, okay? This is a guy who is well-read. He knows history. He knows politics. He is intentionally still behaving as if history started on October 7th. So the fact that Daria Lisa owes an apology for having attended a protest against Israel on October 8th. They know what they're doing. Yes.
And by the way, like, Israel killed more children in 2023, right, than people who were killed on October 7th. Like, just in the year of 2023, not going back further. So, like, acting like there was, like, no reason to protest the state of Israel on October 8th is, like, silly. Right? There were people who were protesting in early 2023 as well. You just weren't listening because you didn't care. The popping here with your take is on whatever is going on in the left Twitch sphere. It's like the others brief me and you do the deep dives.
Yes. Favreau knows what he's doing.
True.
Because at the end of the day, he is.
And I just want to point this out, right? Caroline may not believe this, but that's what I believe. I think this extends to Kyle Klinsky as well. Like, I think this extends to a lot of leftists. Blew up there. I don't know what it was as well. Right? Bro, I don't keep up with what Swirl says. Right? But there are a lot of people who, right? And I think it's something that's very interesting because, like, if Ethan Klein had stopped being insane a year ago, right, he'd be walking around, right, britches held up, being like, yeah, guys, I can tell who's pro-Palestine and who's not pro-Palestine. You know what I mean? Like, if Ethan Klein to put his vendetta aside and he did that, like, I think he would have gotten away with it to a certain extent, right? Because we let people like the Pod Save Bros get away with it, right? We let like Democratic politicians get away with it. We let the chorus creators get away with it, right? There's a lot of people who were pro, like Dean Withers, a good example, right? There are a lot of people who were pro genocide and pro Israel when they were killing, 3,000, 5,000, 12,000, 15,000, 50,000, 70,000, 100,000, right? Palestinian children. Right? When it got to that one number that was still a bit too high, and then the election happened, they were like, oh, maybe this thing is bad. And there was never any apology, right? And that kind of leads into another thing I wanted to talk about today. And that's this tweet from Fizz. They recognize the space that they're in and they are aware that the audience are receptive to. Instead of correcting, they lean into it. It's fundamentally no different from being Naziman or Nazman. Honestly, the best thing about my break is not having to hear anything about Asmin. I love that part of my break. There's Ludwig drama as well. I missed a lot of stuff, chat. I'm not going to get into why people were originally mad at Ludwig, which was this, where he said this at Evo.
I mean, I like Street Fighter, but I also like. I like Street Fighter, but I also like viewers. It just doesn't work like that. I'm sorry.
Bitch, what's up? Your screen popped off, right? He beat Tyler 1 in an exhibition match or whatever. Then Tyler 1 was like, "Why don't you stream Street Fighter more?" He was like, "I like Street Fighter, but I also like viewers and money or whatever." I don't know. And then people were like, "Oh, that's kind of a weird thing to say," right? And then he said generationally soft. He started clapping back at a bunch of people. He said generationally soft, and then this person who follows me, which is like, people who follow me are always at the scene of the crime. Glad you're back. Also glad to hear you got have a break from this place. But the moving goes to the hitch. Moving's done on my part. Did you see his response to my tweet? No, I actually did not see the response. You have a link to it? I didn't even know he responded. Just wanted claps from this cat audience for saying I can't go back and change the past, so I'll be better in the future. Oh, he replied on stream? Okay. Oh, there's so much content.
Context, but this clip's not a good.
There's a clip of the replies. Oh, we'll have the Ludwig clip. I also do want to see. I called the anime man a colonizer, and I meant it. There's so much, right? But basically, this person said it's just weird because you usually fence it on important issues, and then he said like what? Now, as somebody who like watched a lot of Ludwig a few years back, I don't know what possessed him to ask this question. You know, like what? You know exactly like what? Why would you even ask? Right? You should, if you're Ludwig, you should see this tweet and be like, we're scrolling. You should see this tweet from this person and be like, yep, all right, it got me there. I'm just gonna keep going. I'm just gonna scroll past this one. I'm gonna clap back to somebody else. I don't know what possessed him to ask light what. I don't. But Fizz came out here with the receipts, with something that we discussed here 2 years ago when it happened. Because chat, this was 2 years ago. Just to put it in the context about how much time has passed. Viking Eating for the 26 months. Also, I think I missed a few as well. Haru Saito, thank you for the 5 months as well. Much appreciated. Who's been creative for Palestine? Yeah, I was a part of Creators for Palestine. I unfortunately could not go to the in-person thing. So I wasn't in LA at that point.
Just subscribed.
Bro, I was delusional. I went to LA thinking, bro, I'm gonna go to all these in-person events. Never did. Never did. Never happened. Also, okay, let me give you just a little bit of, before I get to this, let me give you a little bit of so Fizz, thank you for the 10 months. Let me give you a little bit of advice. Never move for a girl. Or for any person. You know? Remember when he thought Benjamin at the Streamer Awards was enough? Too late. It won't work out. It won't work out. Not even my employer. No. Not even my wife. Nope. Did you move for your children? Not even them. I went to LA to chase a Kim invite. I don't think Kim is happening. Not even you? Unfortunately not. Unfortunately not. Anyway, let's get back to this. It's like when you so Ludwig said like what? Fizz said like when you refused to do a PCRF fundraiser in 05-24 to not upset your the Zionists in your comm. Let the internet dogpile someone for calling your white privilege and only did it later in 09-25 when the tides shifted on Israel's obvious apartheid, ethnic cleansing, and genocide.
Also, by the way, I don't know if you guys have seen, there's quite a few creators. I know Jarvis, Eddie Burback, I think Hassan. There's a bunch of creators who are doing a charity stream for, I think it's the PCRF, Palestinian Children's Refugee Fund. I want to say that's right.
It's only because Fruggan is going through a lot and I don't want to direct attention on her on that tweet. But let me 100% knows who I'm referring to. Yeah. I love Fruggan. Morgan's great. I saw Morgan like 2 days ago. Morgan is one of the nicest people I've met through streaming, and one of the people I'm going to miss when I'm not seeing at events in LA.
I didn't join it because I find ultimately, like, if I were to do a charity thing where the charity thing relies on your donations, it should be something where like 95% of people feel good and are down for it. And like ultimately, regardless of what you think, that is not the situation here. So I personally donated 10K. Because I think it is worthwhile. And if you guys got some extra bread, I would recommend you donate. But I won't throw it on you, you know what I mean?
It's just objectively a very weird way to frame this conversation. Is he mad? No. Right? And that may make it worse to you. Right? But like, he's like, Ludwig is for the cause. Like, he's not like against Palestinian children. You know what I mean? And that honestly makes it a little bit worse. Because like, he'll like he's admitted to the sponsors in the Zionist community. Yeah. And I think it's mostly about his sponsors. Right? Ludwig will not hide this. It is mostly about his sponsors, right? Like, I mean, we know about AT&T, right? We know about AT&T in their whole thing. That kind of came to a head a little bit later. But I think it's all the sponsors, right? He doesn't want to attach his name to something that may harm his image that will then impede his ability to grab a sponsor. You know? That's kind of what it is. So he's fine with donating 10K because it's something that he thinks will help, but he's not okay with attaching his name to it because that will impact his long-term revenue, right? By being like Ludwig next to the the PCRF, right? Because at this time, and it's very important to know that at this time, the tide has not shifted. This is May 2024. Joe Biden is still the president, and Joe Biden is running for re-election at this point. Like, just to give you context of like what the time actually was, right? This is in the midst of like students on campuses, right? Encampments being brutalized by the police because they were calling it a genocide. People were losing their scholarships. People were being kicked out of school. People, like valedictorians, were like, removed from stages, right? Had their speeches cut short. Their microphones cut off. Degrees were being revoked at this time for standing up for Palestine. Does it make sense because that 10K dono is still tied to his name? Yeah, but he's not a creator for Palestine, so that's still, it's different, it's different. It's not the same thing. Right? And he can spin it to his sponsors to be different. So I like the half the shatters. It was closer to like a third, but yeah. Right? Ethan Klein trying to sue everybody. Like at that point he was threatening to sue people. He wasn't suing people yet. But he was like his community was harassing people. Like this was not a fun time on the internet. Right? He was talking about this yesterday. I have this link from the VOD. Right? It's a nice bathroom. Or slightly late, just a little bit. Yes, it is. Yeah. More than 50 years in prison for saying anti-fascist. Didn't someone get how many years for handing out like zines? Was it 50 years? 30? I thought it was okay. 30 makes sense. 30 sounds right. It was craziness. This is craziness. We'll cover this as well. There's a lot that I want to cover. This is also what I'm thinking about, chat. I'm thinking about when I get to DC, I set up a studio. I want to do like shorter, like clippable segments talking about a specific issue in video format. So you're gonna get more TikToks, you're gonna get more Instagram Reels, you're gonna get more videos on a second channel for YouTube. That's all still gonna happen. Unless things change. Which they might. Where's that? Hold on.
That's about right.
Hold on. We're still on this. We haven't done with this shit. We're not done with this yet.
No thanks. And some people are gonna say that, you know what I mean? That's why it's the difference between like, hey, I can put my money where my mouth is, but I don't need to put your money there. I don't need to enter a fucking debate about whether that's worthwhile. I can just tell you what I'm doing. Because I have a future charity thing planned. But like ultimately I decided to go with the classic No Kid Hungry because, well, one, I really like that organization. But two, I know a lot of people have mixed feelings on it.
Yeah, it's just not good. It's just not good to basically say I will only do a charity stream for a cause that I think my audience will like. Except for these Arab kids. it's so crazy. It's so strange. It's feeling the whole chat is spamming free Palestine. No, you have like two chatters who are like, this guy that said no thanks. You know what I mean? So let's see that one chatter, no thanks. We also have this chatter saying, Ludwig gets to genocide, there's no middle here anymore. But he sniped the no thanks comment, but ignored the actual community member giving the correct take. And there was a lot of these, right? There was a lot of like, what's political about being against genocide? So I'm Catholic, so I like the sacred land of Israel. We have like free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine. You know? Devil's advocate, how else would you do a charity stream if the viewers have no interest in giving to it? I mean, you should not choose a charity cause because you think your viewers will like it, right? That's a different sentence, you know? You should choose a cause that you care about, that you want to raise money for, because you realize that your community is going to shift based on what you say, right? The reason why charity streams are so impactful is because your community will give money to a thing that you say they should give money to. Right? But if you say, hey, I donated money to this, but like, you know, I'm not going to throw it on you, the community's going to be like, oh, you don't really care about that. So that's fine. You know? It shows that like you don't care about it, which means that they shouldn't care about it. You know? So it's not bad that like Ludwig himself donated. Right? But it's like, I think the entire framing is weird. The whole point of an influencer is to like influence. So it doesn't matter if the audience cares. When if it impacts the sponsors. Potential Ludwig's heart is in it. So personally, if I was just a cattle for him, I wouldn't be inclined to donate. Yeah. And so, I don't, it's just weird, right? Because. Hey, like nobody's saying that like Ludwig, you need to join Creative for Palestine or whatever. But like it is a weird way to talk about and frame this issue. You know? Where it's like, I won't throw it on you. I'll only do a charity stream if like 95 of my audience agrees on something. Like it's just like it's unprincipled in this regard, right? Which Ludwig walks it back by eventually doing a charity stream a year later for the PCRF, right? Once the Overton window shifts. And this is not us editorializing, chat. We're not like projecting this onto Ludwig. This is Ludwig literally saying, I'm not doing it, right? Because it's not popular enough. You know what I mean? Like he's saying that in this video. And then he does it later on when it is like more like popular. You know? Everything I said was straight objective facts and it wasn't even opinionated yet. Like it's just a bad way to frame this issue. And in my opinion, like I said this exact same thing 2 years ago when it first happened. Right? I said this exact same thing 2 years ago when it first happened. Right? But in my opinion, Ludwig should have apologized. And he wouldn't even be in a situation where like his tweet got 58,000 likes if he apologized. Just saying, yeah, I was wrong. I was wrong. Shouldn't have done that. Right? You were right. I was wrong. Fizz started this? Yes, Fizz did start this. If it wasn't a bully being, when do I fit in important issues? Yeah, that was a dumb question. That was a dumb question. I don't know why he asked that question. I don't know why he asked that question. It just he threw the lob and he got surprised he got dunked on, you know? It's very disappointing. It's also who he is, and it's also 2024. The fact that he changed a year later should be seen as success, in my opinion. I mean, like, success for what? Like, in what regard? Right? Like, and this is kind of the issue that I had back then, and the issue that I have now, is that you need to be able to acknowledge when somebody was late to change and what made them change on that issue, right? Because it's not just about Palestine now, it's about the next Palestine, right? It's about the next issue, the next thing that is a reprehensible thing that's happening in the world. Will this person be able to recognize that it's reprehensible when it starts? Or will they wait for a year and a half later to come around to that too? You know? That's why it's important to think, like, why did you change? What made you change? Acknowledging that you were late to the party, you know? Not to be like, oh, we're better than you are, but so that the next time this happens, you will be on the front lines with us at the beginning, right? That is an important part of introspection, right? It's a very important part of introspection. It's kind of like I get the liberals saying, or the saying that liberals oppose every war but the current war, right? That keeps happening because liberals never do any introspection as to like, why was I opposed to like, why was I not opposed to this this current genocide until later on where everybody else was opposed? You know what I mean? Like Jon Favreau is a perfect example of this as well, where he's doing the same thing. He did zero introspection as to like why he was pro-Israel up until 2 years later, right? And he was not forced to reckon with that information. And now he's like, oh, well, because you were pro-Palestine too early, that means you're a bad person, right? Like Jon Favreau and Ludwig here are cut from the same cloth. You know? Finish this off.
I'm for the children. Me too.
Okay. Also, it doesn't even get into like what he did to Frogan specifically. You know, just meaning that viewers in general sentiment has changed, so that people were able to more or less generally agree that it's a genocide. I think you're right that people have to change to be forefront of why they change because it's important of growth. I would argue that Favreau is much worse. No, I'm with you. I actually agree with that as well. Ben Rose on Pod Save the World has a background in knowing what's up. Favreau knows better. He's just a piece of trash. No, I completely agree with you. I do think Favreau is worse. Right? Not even because of Ben Rose, but also because of like, I don't see Ludwig saying, you were pro-Palestine too early, you must be moronic or whatever. To be fair. I don't know if he thinks that or not, but like, he hasn't said it. Jon Favreau has, which makes him worse. You know? But basically, like, the Frogan conversation is, I won't get into it too deep, but basically, after he made this take, Frogan reacted to it and called it a C-word take, like a saltine take, if you will. Right? And that got clipped by LSF, posted on Twitter, and blasted everywhere. And Ludwig was not a fan of it. He did not like that one bit. We're gonna call it a C-word take, and he let the entire internet harass her relentlessly, but she was objectively correct. Yeah. Yeah. And this was a part of the wider harassment campaign that Frogan has gotten and still does get, right? Not specifically because of Ludwig, right? But that, like, you know, Ludwig didn't really feel the need to try to curve, you know? What's up, 80K? So that's the original conversation. Apparently he responded to this. So I'm curious about how this goes.
Good look. This is what pissed me off, is saying, I don't know if there's more context, but this clip is not a good look. Because the clip is actually 5 seconds. So you've actually consumed 5 seconds of a 50-minute show match, formed an opinion and tweeted out. And I was like, that's so lame. So I replied generationally soft. And then this guy said, it's just weird. You usually sit on a fence when it's important shit. And I said, like what? And then I got boomed. Generation.
Again, L, poor question. Poor question.
Like when you refuse to do a PCRF fundraiser on insert date to not upset Zionists in your community, let the internet talk.
Insert date.
File for someone calling you with white privilege and did it later on insert date. And then the tide shifted on Israel's obvious apartheid, ethnic cleansing, and genocide. Okay. 50K felt likes. Oof. We got boomed on that one. Happens. But I think I thought about it that they're right. Like I should have been braver. I should have just done it back then. I think it's like difficult for me to be hard on myself because what I was in the past, even if I was weak or fallible, turns me into the person I am today. And the person I am today is like actively doing charity streams for the PCRF and things that I think are important, or like personally donating. And I think that's the right play. So it's like, that's okay. I don't need to be hard on myself for fucking up back then. I just need to do well going forward. And so like,
I mean, I think he's wrong. Like, I think not even like about Ludwig specifically. I think you should be hard on yourself, right? You should look back and think, why did I think that wasn't okay? Like, why did I have this take? That is what it means to be introspective, right? I do kind of agree where it's like, you know, half the battle is doing the right stuff now, but it's still only half the battle. The other half of the battle is understanding why you weren't doing the right stuff, right? Or then, you know? That is a very important part of the conversation. Because again, as I said, what about the next, right? The next, you know, ethnic cleansing, the next genocide, the next, you know, war crimes that occurred on marginalized people. Liberals and reparations. True. I can see that. That's a good analogy. Right? You have to understand, you have to realize, right? Why did I think this back then? And once you realize that, you can think, okay, I was in the wrong. I was in the wrong. It was wrong of me. Right? And then you can push forward. Watching your own memories leads to a really life where one day you lie about the facts of what happened. Yeah, it's kind of like, you know, one day we would have all been against this. And like liberals will be like, no, that they'll tell their kids like, no, I was definitely against the state of Israel when it existed. You know? I was totally against it. When like they weren't. Right? And nobody's gonna like truly hold it against you if you've truly grown. But you should understand why you weren't there yet. And once you understand that, and once you recognize that, you can put that mindset towards the future or whatever happens next. You know? And so it's not even about like, oh, you weren't here when I was here, so I'm better than you are. It's like, why did I not believe that the PCRF was a worthwhile charity then? Oh, because I let myself be guided by my audience. I need to stop doing that. Putting that mindset to your audience would also be more beneficial than doing the Walter White Yikes give. When it was really needed, you didn't believe it was worthwhile. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I give him half points for at least understanding that, like, you know, change and growth was required. Right? But again, I don't think anybody expects Ludwig to like dedicate his entire stream to like covering politics or whatever. But just understanding that it was wrong of me to not do this charity stream day. That's literally all that's required. I mean, it was a children's fund. How would that not be sponsor friendly at that point? I mean, this was during the time where like UNRWA was considered like Hamas in the international community, you know? So like I don't even think Ludwig wanted to smoke at all. He saw Palestine and he wanted as far away from it as possible. You know? Like I think he understood that children dying were bad. I'll only give him half more if he goes and spits on AT&T. That is another point that's not addressed here. That's a good point actually. Is that like he's still sponsored by companies that have gone out of their way to one, take down pro-Palestinian Twitch streamers, which Ludwig in his coverage of drama, right, has not addressed. Charlie also has not addressed, by the way. No, like, fence-sitting, centrist YouTuber or streamer or whatever has addressed the fact that there was a concerted deplatforming effort for a thing that they now realize was bad. Right? Charlie realizes that the genocide in Gaza is bad. Right? Ludwig realizes that genocide in Gaza is bad. But there's never any connection point to think, how did my silence impact the people who were speaking on it beforehand? Right? Especially when Ludwig gets sponsored by one of the companies who threatened to pull out after the like Hummusgate or whatever. Right? I think also that has somewhat to do with the fact that he just doesn't like Frozen. How is that because Ludwig had his talent of retiring? He spent the last few years doing nothing but being as safe as possible, but kind of as many sponsorships as possible, thereby paying for his retirement. I mean, maybe. This is why it's so important to show your work. Anyone can get to the right conclusion, but if the work is strong, then the work is wrong, then what's the point? Yeah. They still resent Hassan for the pressure they think his audience put on them for not speaking out. I mean, maybe. So why do you mean that's not going to be on the on stream with Extra Emily and Emeru? Specifically when they're sponsored by AT&T. Or when they have the AT&T logo. Pretty sure. But yeah, that was the thing that happened. Right. And it's not lost on me the fact that Hassan was like generally abandoned by all of these people. Like, not to like fight Hassan's battles for him, but that did happen. That is a real thing that did occur. Like, pretty much all of Hassan's friends, not all of them, but like a lot of Hassan's like streamer friends, you know, kept him at a, arm's reach because of they felt like Hassan would like ruin their sponsorship opportunity. I always said that he wouldn't go to his funeral. Yeah. I still think that's hilarious. That is a hilarious thing to hilarious as in like completely unnecessary and wild. Like completely unnecessary and wild. You know. But I don't know. I don't think you would lose much. But again, I'm not the multimillionaire. You know what I mean? I didn't make millions of dollars last year on streaming. So I what I'm saying is from my perspective, right? I made a decent amount of money last year, which I still paying back in my taxes, by the way. Jeez Louise, do withholdings if you're a Twitch streamer. But like I'm not in the million dollar bracket. So maybe that's worth it. Maybe when you see the 6 figures hit your account, or sorry, 7 figures hit your account, you're like, yeah. Yeah. It's 7. You can count. Only $900 bracket? Bro, I wish. I wish. Kind of reminds me of that one clip where Emily was like, yo, I was going to go back to school, but it seemed like it was too much work. Which I'm just like, bro, dang.
We're going to do a Fast 53. We raised $250,000 last year. This year, we've already raised $250,000 for charity. I think we're going to double that number. I think we'll probably raise like $500,000, if not more, for charity by the end of the year for causes that I think are important. And if people think I suck and hate me for life, that's fine. I don't need them to like me. I just need to do the things that I think are right now. You know, I'm a fallible human. I'm not infallible. I won't pretend to be. But I also don't need to beat myself up for my mistakes. I just need to like be the person I want to be in 5 years or whatever.
Okay. This goes back to something that I said a while ago, which is that I think that genuinely, like, there is something that stops white men from being able to apologize. It's something in there. You can just say, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like, that would solve a lot of the problem. Like, genuinely, just say, I'm sorry. I should have been better. And I will be better. That would be way better than just saying, listen, all I can do is be better in the future, but I'm not going to focus on the past. You know what I mean? Oh, there's a hair in my mouth. Like, it's very American, to be fair. Oh, right. They're Canadians, Biz. I forgot. Canadians do love to apologize. Americans hate to apologize. Right. Again, I think if he would have said I'm sorry, if he would have said like I should have been better, I would have like less of an issue with this. But like, you should beat yourself up if you were like, I won't raise money for Palestinian children during a genocide. Like, I think you should beat yourself up a little bit and think, why did I think that wasn't good? Why did I think that was bad? You know? I don't even know what he did this time, but I assume something like didn't include POC in an event, isn't it? No. It's actually not that. That was like 2 controversies ago. Like, what exactly did Ludwig do wrong, or is just him still being a fence-sitter? This is more like Ludwig, less about Ludwig doing something specifically wrong now, and Ludwig not necessarily doing correct accountability for what he did in the past. Right? You know, Dean Winters' three pillars of apologies. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. I had that video saved in my bookmarks, but I don't know what to look it up to find it. It was like he ate. You know what I'm talking about? He's like, I fulfilled the three pillars of accountability, or 3 pillars of change. I apologize, I took accountability, and a genuine change in my character. I did all. You know what I'm talking about, right? You know what I'm talking about. Can't find it. Ah. Bro, they're making edits of. Okay, I'm not watching a Dean edit, bro. Whatever. Take my word for it. No, it wasn't American related. It was about his like him using slurs in the past. It was the Dean hype edit. No, I will not subject y'all to that. Remember when I went live? Okay, chat. Remember when I went live on TikTok one time? Where I talked about Dean, and then Dean was in the chat, and then like Tashika was also in the chat who had a beef with Dean, and 4 other people hopped in the chat as well to talk about their experiences. And I brought someone in from TikTok on stream to talk about something, and they were just talking back and forth. Bro, that was so fun. I loved that. That was hilarious. That was a really fun time. I really enjoyed that. I missed all this. It was really fun. You were in the middle of that? Yes. You were in the Dean and Tashika beef? Yes. I wasn't in it. I was like getting the outside perspective. But then like, how long ago was this? Oh, it was like a year ago at this point. Wait, why do y'all know about the Dean and Tashika
Recently, a lot
beef?
of things have been posted all over the internet about how, like, when I was younger, like, I would say slurs.
This is not the clip, but we'll play anyway.
But you're not racist, right?
No, I'd say that
Okay, there you go.
I'm not currently exhibiting racism. You know, I recognize that, you know, like when I was 14, like saying the N-word, that was like really bad. I also recognize that we should, you know, not take that lightly, because as soon as we start taking, you know, even like 14, 15, 16-year-olds saying slurs lightly, you know, that kind of makes it socially acceptable for kids to slur because, oh, well, they're kids. What I've done is I have not only like had character progression, I've changed as a person and apologized for those things, but then I actively advocate against them. Recently, a lot of things have been posted.
He didn't talk about the 3 pillars though. If somebody can find me the 3 pillar of accountability clip that Dean has, I don't know what I'll give you, but it's funny. Did I miss you doing a whole Doug session on Progressive Victory in a recent stream? Yeah, it wasn't a recent stream. It was like 2 months ago, I think. But I talked about Progressive Victory quite a bit, about how they were stupid and dumb. Anyway, if somebody can find it, then that'll be great. If not, it's whatever. I'm gonna see if I can scroll and find it. I have a lot of stuff in my bookmarks. What's happened, Dean? Did you say you were retiring? Maybe I am. Okay. Before we move on, I'll show you this, and then we'll get to the Supreme Court.
Now, I'm going to make this last point incredibly clear before we end. I'm going to take some time off for a little bit. And I'll have a video up later about this as well. You'll be able to find it on my TikTok, on my Instagram. You'll be able to find it everywhere. I'm just going to collect my thoughts and then make a video. Gun violence is sickening and wrong. And last statement, if you celebrate this, if you don't condemn it, if you're happy, there's a clear line between me and you now. You are not a fan. I do not support you, and I do not want you to support me. If you claim to be an individual who wants to end gun violence, then you are contradicting your values to their core if you celebrate it. And if you see anybody celebrating it, happy with it, okay with it, please call them out. Please call them out.
Yes, this is about Charlie. This is about Charlie Kirk.
And I don't know of I don't know how long it'll be until I come back and do debates. I just have a lot to.
It was a day. He came back the next day, by the way.
Go through, mentally speaking. Regardless of the fact that, he was Charlie Kirk, Republican MAGA, that is still a human, a person that I met, that I spoke with, had conversation and debate with. That is somebody who has kids, somebody who has a life. That is somebody who has a wife.
Excuse me, had.
That's also somebody that my friend Parker had to watch die right in front of him 30 feet away. What happened to Charlie Kirk today, this will probably be it for me. What happened to Charlie Kirk today is abhorrent. Truly abhorrent. This has to stop. Nobody deserves to be a victim to violence. Charlie Kirk is a victim to gun violence. His kids are a victim to gun violence. His wife is now a victim to gun violence. Parker.
Somebody has to have that clip of Dean on Jubilee. Found it. This is it. Yes, this is actually it. Okay. Somebody find me the clip of Dean on Jubilee where the lady thanks him for crying for Charlie Kirk.
To non-racist, because everyone else who witnessed this in person was there is a victim to gun violence. This is fucking disgusting. There's so much evil in this world.
Now there's a little bit less. I know it's irrelevant, but Kai Cenat still hasn't published a new book video. I told y'all he wouldn't. I told y'all. As soon as Kai Cenat dropped his clothing line, he was not going to post a single one. Yeah, this works.
And today is a stark, bleak, morally abhorrent reminder of that evil. God. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. You guys have a good one.
Now I have to show you this.
Hey, listen, I appreciate you for the respectful dialogue.
By the way, I want to tell you I respect you a lot.
Well,
I
thank
saw
you.
when you cried for Charlie Kirk. You actually have a soul.
Have a good one.
Oh, fucking got him. Oh, no. Oh, no. She actually brought that up as a positive. TikTok is going to eat his ass alive for that one. Oh, no. Dude, hey.
We are Charlie Kirk. We carry the flag.
Oh.
Chat, tell me why I opened up my Twitch dashboard this morning to start stream, and the cowboy emote was used 1,000 times in the past week. I wasn't even live. It's like this is your most used emote of the past week. You see how much emote gets used? Only sometimes Twitch will show me. It is a good emote. It's very funny. Well, it's one of my favorites.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
If you want to be the next debater, please get to the chair in 3, 2.
Okay. One more Charlie Kirk video before I show you the last Dean video, and then we'll move on. I have seen the girl who calls Nadine stream singing "We Are Charlie Kirk." I have seen that. It was a compilation I watched when I was on break. I love this video. This is one of my favorite videos.
bullshit. I've never been so pissed in my whole life. They just murdered Charlie Kirk right here in Utah. I'm so freaking pissed right now. This is bullshit. I just saw blood squirting out of his neck. I love that guy. He would have been our next president. I am so pissed right now. Why do they always come with fucking violence? Gosh damn it. Use your freaking words as they're talking to you people. Who shot Charlie Kirk? I'm driving down a Provo right now. I'm so pissed. Damn it. So pissed in my whole life. They just murdered Charlie Kirk right here in Utah. This is such bullshit. I've never been so pissed in my whole life. They just murdered Charlie Kirk right here in Utah. I'm so freaking pissed right now. This is bullshit. I just saw blood squirting out of his neck. I love that guy. He would have been our next president. I am so pissed right now. Why do they always come with fucking violence? Gosh damn it. Use your freaking words as they're talking to you people. Who shot Charlie Kirk? I'm driving down a Provo right now. I'm so pissed. Damn it.
I love this video. It's so funny. It's so funny. Okay, this is what I was looking for, though.
Because I fulfilled the three qualities. Hypocritical because I
think it's okay to be racist as long as you apologize?
You think I'm hypocritical because I went from being racist to non-racist because I fulfilled the three qualities of accountability, apology, and genuine change in my character, and yet you think I'm hypocritical because I call out other individuals that have not fulfilled those three qualities and have been unapologetically racist since the 70s, such as Donald J. Trump. That is not hypocrisy. That is fact, sir. You only want to call it hypocrisy to obfuscate away from the fact that this 20-year-old white boy on TikTok and YouTube can hold himself to a higher degree of accountability than the president of the United States of America.
Okay, I will say Dean is a meme machine. Dean is a meme machine. It is so funny. The diabolical energy. Oh wait, actually no, there's one more. I have to show you this one because it's so much funnier. Hold on. I have to show you this video. And if you've seen me cover Dean Withers, if you see me cover Dean Withers, you know that I have to show you this video.
Pen. I'm sorry that I have anxiety. Okay, and honestly, yeah, it is kind of the fault of people like you that want to come up here and bully and berate me over something that I don't do. Okay, so cut the shit. It's not a vape. All right, it's an anxiety pin, and God, the amount of times that I've asked you to respect me and respect my anxiety pin is, at this point, getting ridiculous, Cody. So please,
justified crash out
for the final and for the billionth time, will you please just respect the fact that it's not a vape and that it's an anxiety pin?
It's a goddamn anxiety pen. Get it right.
What flavor is your vape?
Yo, you really got me.
Get the fuck. Just
for this.
Get the fuck out.
Get him out.
I hate women.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, bro.
Just subscribed.
Look, Cody kills me every single time.
That I don't do. Pen. I'm sorry that I have anxiety. Okay, and honestly, yeah, it is kind of the fault of people like you that want to come up here and bully and berate me over something that I don't do. Okay, so cut the shit. It's not a vape. All right, it's an anxiety pin, and God, the amount of times that I've asked you to respect me and respect my anxiety pin is, at this point, getting ridiculous, Cody. So please,
justified crash out
for the final and for the billionth time, will you please just respect the fact that it's not a vape and that it's an anxiety pin?
It's a goddamn anxiety pen. Get it right.
What flavor is your vape?
Yo, you really got me.
Get the fuck. Just
for this.
Get the fuck out.
It's so funny. It's so funny. It has to be satire. I haven't I choose to believe that it's real because it's so much funnier, and I can see Dean actually legitimately being like this. I think part of it it's like it's also I think it's like it's as real as like you see people online. He's a influencer, he's a content creator, right? So I think part of his personality is hammed up for the camera, right? But like I think it's elements of it are real, you know? Is what I think it's funny. So it's really good. It's really good. It's really funny. I don't even know how we got on Demon Time. Get it? Sorry. We covered Ludwig being dunked on. Covered Jon Favreau. I'm getting freaking Graham Plattner off the screen. Oh, anyway, if you're new here, like my tweet, please. Give it a little likey poo. It has 191,000 likes. Oh, let me refresh. 196,000 likes. Almost at 200K. That's crazy. Is it your top of all time? No. My top of all time is my Kendrick Lamar tweet. Mocking Charlie D'Amelio? I don't get the reference. Your greed sickens me. LeBron to Chicago? Market? Is LeBron still playing? No. Also, Trump's mock arch. Also, I haven't covered the state fair. Yeah, when did the state fair end? That's so ugly. There's no if LeBron is playing, but I can name every Dino Thunder Ranger. I can indeed. We went for the Vachi girl at the state fair. I think I saw this picture. No, I have not seen this. I thought it was a different picture. Raising Cane's. Yeah, one thing that I won't miss about LA is Raising Cane's. Bro, this is so bad. Well, Dave's Hot? I don't like Dave's Hot Chicken either. I like Raising Cane's more than Dave's Hot Chicken. Or I will rather say, I dislike Dave's Hot Chicken more than I dislike Raising Cane's. Sorry. Pizza chicken is awesome because you can buy it and eat it and wonder why you wasted $18. Raising Cane's or Zaxby's. Zaxby's demolishes Raising Cane's in a cage match. It's like Hydrogen Bomb versus Coffee and Baby. Chicken Express clears. I've never had Chicken Express. Like you put me on. Incredible. I mean, I should have had it before I left Los Angeles. It's the GOAT. Southern Chain. Oh. In Texas. Oh. You know what's funny? I still haven't decided whether or not I'm going to DreamCon, and it's in 10 days. So that's in Texas. So if I do go, then you should go. I have to go get my keys in Washington, D.C. And I need to be available when my stuff arrives. Which, by the way, let me check where it is. Nope, it hasn't moved. It's still in California. It's literally, I kid you not, as far away from DC as it possibly could be and still be in America. I'm not even joking. It's like 2 streets away from the border. Jeez, it goes to Hawaii now. Okay, that'd be actually kind of sick. So moving a shipping company, moving companies literally never update if it's through them. No. You don't understand. I'll put an air tag in it like a genius. So I get real time updates about where it is because I dropped an air tag in my stuff. I'm not relying on them to update me on where it is. I put an air tag in everything. I'm there's an air tag in my car, air tag on my keys, air tag on my passport, air tag on my wallet, air tag on my dog, and an air tag in my moving stuff. Use the Metro in DC, you get a Metro card on your phone, by the way. It's clutch. You have an air tag? I have many air tags. The air tags are why streaming PO boxes aren't a thing anymore? Really? I've never actually thought about that. Wallet and passport? Yeah, because my wallet and passport are different. Anyway, sorry. The menu at the state fair, I did not eat anything. There's nowhere to sit down except the grass. It's just these vendors in a tent with no tables and chairs. $10 pretzel, $10 nacho. Wait. And also, it's these same standard pretzel machines. Super pretzel. $4 chips. Hot dog. Okay. How long is this stuff going for, chat? Because if it's going for the next few days, I can go. Should I IRL stream the 250 year American State Fair? Just to see what's going on? Be safe. Oh, you're right. I probably shouldn't do that. We're kind of stupid to do that. Your hard's way. That's fair. That's fair. I go dressed up as Matt. A live streamer was already arrested there. Stop. No, you're lying to me. They're taking those shifts and see who buys it. Doing whiteface. Massachusetts refused to set up a booth, so there's a table with an old map on it. That's really funny. The Juice Keeper's makeup team and then go. Not for streaming. I know, but arrested for what? You know what? I want to look at some coverage. I don't know much about what's going on here. I think you're joking about jerking it. Also, I also want to see this as well.
I'm so stupid. Yeah. I spend all this time and money just so I can have a useless degree. Dude, I'm the same. I have an English degree. That's so useless. And I use it to make videos on the internet. All of my potential employers look at my resume and don't even care about my degree. They just look at my references and my prior experience. Same. I mean, it still sucks that it's a barrier to entry. Like, it doesn't matter that you have one, but they still want you to have it. It's like, hey, learn all this useless shit just so that we can scrutinize your 12-year employment gap. And it's not like my degree applies to what I'm doing anyways. Wait, why did you have a 12-year Nobody cares a shit about my degree. What is your job? Oh, I'm a neurosurgeon. Okay. Yeah, and my comp lit degree was just completely useless. If there's a useful degree, it's probably all the shit you had to do to become a neurosurgeon, really? Turns out if you spend 12 years doing an HBO's Barry starring Bill Hader, you can get enough money to fake the credentials, and AI does the rest. You were in HBO's Barry? No. I did an HBO's Barry starring Bill Hader. You, like, killed people? Have you even seen HBO's Barry starring Bill Hader? But you also used AI. Yeah, for all the other stuff, like learning how brain works. Did you know it's gray? When I said I had a useless degree, I didn't mean I had a fake degree. What's the difference? AI-generated teachers grading AI-generated essays?
Wait, you were Y'all were, I thought the chatter was joking about this. I've never been more serious. What? You're trolling, right? You're trolling. Like 17 minutes after it opened, you're trolling. I'm being trolled right now. You're trolling me. You dress up as Uncle Sam? Okay, I know you're lying. You were literally trying to defend him too?
Understand that the crowd
Was actually part of a story. I think you're all lying to me.
understand that the crowd out
Man accused of filming performers sticking hand down his pants at Great American State. It's
there is growing.
sorry. The crowd is growing. You see like 5 people in the background. That's right, John. It went up from 3 people to 7.
It's grown. It's been really Larry though. I've been here all day. It's been big. It's been really day, but it's gotten louder as the day has gone on. I'll tell you what the consistent thing has been. There has been not an empty car on that Ferris wheel, or the Freedom Wheel, they're calling it, for hours. That has been the main attraction. But people have always really loved checking out these booths that represent the 56 U.S. territories and states. I'm kind of a homebody, so I'm going to take you inside really quick. We'll go into D.C.'s booth.
Oh, Lord, they got black people working the doors.
All right, we're taking a trip to D.C., inside D.C. And like all these booths, most of them, a lot of information, even some interaction, some trivia in here. People I talked to that attended, that are here, say they've come from places just across the Potomac to across the country to be here. Stepping your way state to state and around the country. Guests from outside the DMV and close to home came to see what this was all about.
Being local, we can go like to the Arlington County Fair, but to get to have like a Great American State Fair on the National Mall, this is cool.
Jackie Butt.
She is exactly what I would expect from somebody who's local to DC. And I can say that I live in DC now.
And Sarah Solano came here from Alexandria, and they've been to the National Mall
Oh, okay, so that's Virginia, pretty sure.
before, but haven't seen it like this.
It was good. It wasn't as stressful as I thought it'd be, being up high, but no, it was nice.
Inside the booths, guests get a snapshot of every U.S. territory and state.
This is the Virginia 250 Passport, which showcases all of the historic sites throughout the Commonwealth that are helping to celebrate 250 years of independence in Virginia.
Why does he kind of look like man carrying things? Come on. Come on, bro. They kind of look alike. They have the same glasses and everything, which knows gonna win when he runs for Congress.
Visitors from outside the DMV, like Nancy Bennett and her grandson Miles, even got a taste of the South right here.
We went to Texas, of course.
Okay.
He wanted to see Texas, and then we went into Maryland. I actually lived there, and I lived on Andrews Air Force Base.
7 states didn't participate in the celebration. North Carolina was one of them, citing
Yes! Yes! We are up!
financial concerns. A privately owned company, Spevco, told WUSA 9 they stepped in when they heard their state wasn't involved and set this up in 2 weeks.
It's just really neat to see all the
It's so lame anyway. Like no offense. NASCAR's cool though. It's one of the few cool things that we have here. Is like is NASCAR. Like, you know, bunch of cars driving around and stuff. That's sick. But like, it's kind of lame. They have like half a car. Sorry, a quarter of a car.
In 2 weeks.
It's just really neat to see all the
Like, it's just you walk in, you're like, oh, a bunch of cheese here. Wow, interesting. Like, is that all it is? It's like Wisconsin cheese. I see. Okay, you leave, go to Georgia, like, oh, peaches for Georgia. Cool. I don't get it. I genuinely don't get it. They used to bring host simulators in antique car shows in North Carolina. That would be cool. Peaches are better than Georgia. They already said it. I don't know what the peanut E means. Okay, I don't know.
businesses and the things that each state represents, because they're all just slightly different.
Yeah, Freedom 250's
Does it cost money, chat?
website says the Great American State Fair is going to stay open until 11 o'clock tonight. It'll reopen 10 a.m. Friday. In fact, it's going to open 10 a.m. every day through July 10th. Larry, closing
July 10th. Maybe I'll go. Why not? Nice idea. Maybe I'll go. Why not?
a little bit early Sunday through Wednesday. It'll be 10 to 9 p.m. those days.
All right, looks like a lot of fun. Can't wait to get down there, and so happy that someone stepped up to help the great state of North Carolina. John Duran.
This ain't why you're leaving North Carolina. I did see this. Wait, is it over? Did they get all the inmates? 80 inmates overpowered 3 guards at a North Carolina jail before authorities ended the takeover. That's crazy. And maybe we'll cover this a little bit later as well. Man, the thing looks lame. What is it called again? You baptized on straight. I saw the baptism bowl. State fair. But also, there's nobody there. There's nobody even running it.
The National Mall, we're talking about the Great American State Fair. We continue to. It's had some setbacks from headliners pulling
Why does he kind of look like George Bush?
out of performing to power outages.
Yeah, President Trump claims it's packed with happy people, but with thousands of acres spread out across the National Mall, what does it actually feel like on the ground? DC News Now's Ben Dennis spent time on the mall today.
And then for our fair fans, how does it stack up? Were you able to try some good food, some rides?
Well, our main goal here today was talk with folks about their experience itself. There's certainly pockets of activity around the big old Ferris wheel that's towering above the mall and around those state exhibits that we mentioned.
I love that I leave Los Angeles to get away from the World Cup. And apparently there's like a first of its kind fair in DC when I'm going to DC. Can stuff stop happening when I'm going there, please?
Those states that participated.
Thankfully, there doesn't seem to be much traffic, so maybe it wouldn't be that bad.
But there are also those long stretches across the mall that do show open space. And while many are questioning about attendance, I asked a simpler question. Is the experience of the Great American State Fair great or not so great? They're towering 110 feet over the National Mall or visiting exhibits. Talk of the Great American State Fair extends beyond town. Since opening, attendance and open space on the mall has been questioned by some on social media. President Trump now saying the fair was, quote, packed with happy people. Packed? Not quite. But Folks we talked to cared less about aesthetic and more about what the fair offered.
I would say all the exhibits, like these states right here, they got one for every single state and territory, so you can like get your merch from all the little stands and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Wow. They all said the same thing. Hey, there's a Ferris wheel, and every state is represented except for the ones that aren't. So
Private businesses, art displays, government agencies, states and territories are represented. Some elaborate. Others relatively bare. While food and merch come with a cost, water is free and aplenty. Some details, though, don't match the promotional.
okay, that's a slight W, honestly. They 10x the fireworks at the pool.
Images. There are pillars that hover above ground. Vinyl wrapped buildings have crinkled on occasion, and a mini version of the president's proposed triumphal arch is far less ornate than first teased.
All the photos just make it seem like it's going to be this big, beautiful thing, and it looks tiny. It looks plastic.
But for many visitors, what mattered most wasn't how the fair looked, rather what it offered.
I'm really pleased with how it's been handled. I think having lots of porta potties is nice and food options, just like the things that people care about. This has been such a
Potties and the ability to eat food. Yes, what a wonderful state fair. These people have never been to a state fair in their life. This is like, it's abysmal from like a general perspective, but it's even more abysmal when you compare it to like literally any state fair. Any state fair. Like,
Delight, all of the different states featuring their highlights. I'm so happy to be an American and be here.
the Americans
The
are
debate
cucked.
continues to swirl online from folks behind social media accounts, whether they be political analysts or even the president himself, about attendance. The folks that I spoke with said they largely came here with curiosity and a desire to be part of such a rare event, and the only way to experience it or find out was to be on the mall here for it themselves. On the National Mall, Ben Dennis, DC News Now.
Yeah, so that's the fair. Ooh, my neck is itching. I had a few more things I wanted to cover. What was this oral clip? One was Colorado election. We'll cover that as well.
But how does abolishing prisons or having open borders fit into that? I mean, do you see how those are ideas that a lot of your Democrats that are warning about what happened here say are toxic. Most of America won't go along with it. Are bad ideas. They're dangerous ideas.
I think what the focus of her race was, what the focus of her candidacy was about the struggle that working people are facing. And I think that we can have disagreements on policy positions. What we have to agree on is what are we fighting for and who are we fighting for? She showed that in her race, and I think that many people will come to appreciate that in her leadership to come.
So we can disagree on something as basic as whether or not there should be prisons?
That's
not your position.
There are prisons,
yes.
And what we're also showing in this city is that safety is not something that's up for debate.
But how does abolishing prisons or having open borders fit into that? I mean, do you see how that's...
Yeah. Bro, people are just people, you know? Hold on. There. This friends on if these reports are true. This is actually good news. Zorman Lenny says the NYPD PC, what is the PC? Oh, police commissioner agreed with him that the additional NYPD headcount wasn't necessary, so it got cut. This saves money and also helps Mamdani politically. Raising the headcount is one of the few areas in which the New York City DSA publicly distances themselves from him. Not all he needs to do is reduce the headcount. Right? And we need to see this happen. But that would be good if that was the case. Because again, I think I talked about it earlier. Like one of his biggest L's is on the police system, right? And policing. Too much glaze for the police.
Good morning. What's up, everybody? I'm Jacob Soboroff. It is Sunday, June 28th, and you are watching Connect. You know my happy place is an election day, and we are once again just days away from another important primary election here in America. Voters will head to the polls in Colorado to vote in primaries for the governorship and the House and the Senate and other state races. And after the progressive sweep in New York City on Tuesday, one House race just got really, really interesting. In New York, 3 candidates backed by Democratic Socialist Mayor Zohran Mamdani won their primaries, knocking out 2 incumbent Democrats in a powerful show of force against the establishment. And to centrist Democrats, these wins are not just any Democratic wins. They're a warning sign that the playbook that they have been running on might not be what their voters want anymore. Progressives are on a hot streak, and Donald Trump is already running with it. He is doing what he does best. He's putting his own spin on the messaging and slinging around familiar insults.
We haven't covered all of the prison takeover yet. There's just so much stuff that I missed since I was gone. So we're gonna talk about a little bit of it.
They're communists, they're not social democrats. They want to completely destroy the traditional American way of life. Communism is very easy to sell. It destroys everything, but it's very easy. I'll be honest, I think I'd be the greatest communist in history.
Okay.
Sure.
Let me get this straight. Communists are bad and will destroy America, but he would be the greatest communist in history. Cool. Anyway, let me state the obvious. Those progressive candidates won in deep blue New York City, so it is not exactly a full referendum on the midterms in November, and moderate Democrats have been doing well in races far more likely to decide control of Congress, but we can't...
I mean, such as, like... He's going to provide any examples of this?
Cannot ignore that Tuesday's primaries were an undeniable sign that Americans are tired of the status quo. And this is bigger than one city or one mayor. Progressive candidates are hoping to ride this wave in races all across the nation. Take Abdul El Sayed, for example. He is a progressive former public health official endorsed by Bernie Sanders, running for a competitive seat in Michigan to replace retiring Democratic Senator Gary Peters. He told Politico this: "It's happening in New York. It is happening in Michigan. I think we are seeing it happen across the country now. Folks are sick and tired of being sick and tired." Or take a look at what's going on in Wisconsin. Francesca Hong, a candidate running on the Democratic Socialists of America campaign and playbook, is looking to win the governor's seat there. She is gaining traction in the polls and says it is time Wisconsin and Democrats tried something new.
I was at the Democratic convention this past weekend, and I got asked over and over again about, we love your campaign, we love what you stand for, your policies are amazing, it's so thorough, but can you win? I wouldn't be running if I didn't think we could win.
And this all brings us back to Colorado and the race to watch on Tuesday. Melat Quiros is a 29-year-old Democratic socialist giving incumbent Congresswoman Diana DeGette her biggest primary challenge in nearly 30 years.
I also heard that she was a PhD candidate. My question is, what is her PhD in? That will dictate whether or not she gets my support. I cannot support a STEM major, not now, not in 2020. Sorry.
Quiros is an Ethiopian immigrant, an attorney, a barista, and a PhD student. And Melat Quiros joins me now. She is running in the Democratic primary for Colorado's 1st congressional district. Good morning. Thanks for being here.
PhD in peace.
Thanks for having me, Jacob.
How are you feeling? What stands between you and victory on Tuesday?
Right now, we're feeling fantastic. We're seeing millions of dollars being poured in by corporate PACs and super PACs and anonymous super PACs with dark money. But we know for a fact that we are going to be able to beat all of those dollars because we have thousands of volunteers knocking on doors all across the city, talking to our neighbors about the values we care about, the policies that we want to see, and the world that we want to live in.
I've been watching the race relatively closely and digging in over the last couple of days, and you are running the strongest challenge to Diana DeGette in 30 years. Why do you think you, someone with no political experience, at least in the vein that she has, is resonating with people?
I think candidates have a responsibility to meet voters where they're at. And that's what we started with this campaign over 11 months ago. In bookstores and coffee shops and bars and restaurants, meeting voters where they're at, talking.
I think what I care the most about this current like slate of like DSA candidates is not even them winning, right? But I've been, and if you've heard me talk about elections, I've talked about this consistently because this is the most important part of some people in their own cities to not run for Congress specifically, but to run for like the city council. You know what I mean? To run for like the state senate, right? Because that's where the true power in the electoral system is, right? Having 10, even 12 more socialist Congress people is good, but having thousands of socialists in local office is way, way more impactful, right? And so I hope that that's the lesson that's being taken from this, from people, is that like you can also run, right? In your local area. There are seats that are uncontested in your local areas. There are open seats that you can just put your name down for and essentially be running against like, yourself or one other candidate. But like giving people the tools to be able to do that, right? And the know how to do that is just like, I think is lacking a little bit. Right? Jeez Louise, my sinuses. These candidates are deeply involved in their local politics, and it's refreshing. Yeah, and that's kind of why they're winning so handedly when compared to like the establishments, because they're not in the community. As before, by my local city, a congressional representative interferes in local politics, gets left candidates off the ballots. That happens a lot of times, right? Because they hold the power, right? That is a hurdle that that needs to be overcome. I don't know how. I don't know your specific district and what the issues are, but like there's strength in there's no way that they can keep everybody off the ballot if everybody was to run, if that makes sense, right? There is a way to kind of overwhelm the system where like even if you lose a few places, like if you have enough people in enough other places, then you're up, Are you going to run soon? Well, right now I'm in school for at least 2 years, and hopefully for 5 years. After that, who knows? Maybe I'll be a 29-year-old PhD student. Is join an org. There are things about running that neither party wants you to know, but on how to run these small races. Join an org. I not necessarily fully agree with that. Organizations could be helpful and could be useful, right? There are things that they can give you. I want to see this as a necessity for a lot of local races, So again, a lot of the people that are running right now are not members of the DSA, right? They're not like DSA members. They are DSA-backed candidates. There are a lot of DSA members who are also running, right? But it's not a prerequisite to like be a part of an organization in order to run, right? If you are motivated saying, I'm going to run for office, right? Finding that know-how is something you can do, right? But it's important to know that like that is something that you can do, even if you're not like entrenched in the DSA. More about being in community than being in an org. Yeah. And even then, like you are you have the benefit of like actually living there. When like a good example, Andrew Cuomo. Andrew Cuomo running for mayor of New York, didn't live in New York, lived in New Jersey, you know? So like you have a benefit than a lot of these other establishment candidates where they don't live in these communities, right? They don't see the issues that are faced by you and your families and your friends. You know? We did talk about Supreme Court upholding birthright citizenship. We did cover that a little bit earlier. Cover it more deeply. There are some Supreme Court stuff that I want to talk about as well. There's just so much news, bro. There's so much news. Gosh darn it. I'm not going to run for the Howard University College Democrats Executive Board. How'd you even find that? Moving it would brick America. I think for the most part, like I don't think the effects of removing birthright citizenship would be seen immediately, which is why I think if it did get removed, it would get away with they would get away with it basically. Right? The effects would be seen like years down the line about like how America is just a drastically different place. By even in like indirect ways of like people decide not to immigrate here, and so we have a lack of like imported talent from the entire world, which then stifles our technological growth. It just in ways that we don't even understand yet, in ways that we don't even see, for like the way that the country operates. Kavanaugh's opinion left the door wide open for legislation. I didn't read it, bro. 5-4 decision is insane, though. This is something that universally not only agreed upon, really legal interpretation, but also bipartisan considered a good thing about America until literally 10 years ago. Yeah, but we know the Supreme Court never cared about things that actually benefit America or the Constitution, right? Which is why I say, like, I don't know, as a legal document that needs to be preserved, right? Because the people who interpret it also don't care. You join the CBC, Congressional Black Caucus. I consider taking an internship with Congressional Black Caucus if they would allow me to change their politics inherently. But I don't even qualify for it, so I didn't do it. I think if I ran, I would make my own caucus called the Caucus Caucus.
Yeah. About the concerns that they have, not only about our government, but the state of our country right now and how we are actually going to move forward and what kind of policies we need to get that done. And in Denver, we are a city that is extremely progressive, extremely young. We've passed things like universal pre-K, like term limits, like publicly financed elections. Our campaign is the only campaign in this race with every single one of those issues on our platform. We're resonating with the voters because we're fighting for the things that they care about.
The acrimony in this election has sort of turned up, and progressive leaders in your state are criticizing you, declining to call the deadly firebombing attack last year on a Jewish community rally in Boulder anti-Semitic, and you've also been criticized over your comments tied to October 7th. Views over Israel seem like a common line of attack between Democratic Socialists and mainstream Democrats in all of these primary elections. But what's your response to members of your own party, especially the progressive Democrats in your state who are criticizing you?
You know, I think what happened in the Boulder firebombing was a horrific attack on a group of Jewish people that were peacefully protesting. It has made many Jewish people in our city, in our states, and in our entire country feeling extremely unsafe. And that's why I think it's incredibly important that we distinguish between anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism, because our responsibility is to protecting our neighbors, protecting our Jewish brothers and sisters in this city. That is my commitment to combating any hate that comes their way, while also making sure that we are not using our taxpayer dollars to fund endless wars and genocide abroad, protecting babies here and protecting babies abroad.
I wonder.
I will say something that I will give as a positive to the current like DSA group, significantly better on Palestine. Significantly better on Palestine. than the previous group. Like it's like night and day. But to hear how Platter would answer this, I'm so tired of them only pressing POCs. The issue is that like Platter has so many other controversies that they just ask Platter about his tattoo instead of about like genuine like questions to hold his like policy feet to the fire. You're like, Graham Platter, are you a Nazi? No. Great to hear it, Was she kicked from her PhD program for pro-Palestine activism? I don't know. They still call her a PhD student. I don't know.
How you would characterize Diana DeGette's campaign against you, because 48 hours before you and live streamer Hassan Piker were supposed to hold an event at the Ogden Theater, I think it was. The venue canceled the event. This was a couple of weeks ago due to
I heard about this.
Pressure and concern from the local community, reports
Aside
said,
from
and the
her
rally
law
was
firm
moved to
as
the Capitol
well?
steps. I saw
Really?
the crowd. It was enormous. Tell me that story. What was behind that whole situation?
We had several venues cancel on us the week leading up to the rally that we were going to be having, not only with Hassan Piker, but with several other candidates, including
And I also, I promise this will not turn into Graham Platter Power Hour. But like, you understand, I was just a little bit slightly different about, the way that, pro-Palestinian actual pro-Palestinian activists are, called terrorists, kicked out of their programs in school and fired for their jobs for their activism. And like Graham Platter could just kind of walk up a year later, like again at the same time that Ludwig did, by the way, but just for context, and say Israel bad and face like no actual pushback, and then get treated as though like they're like equivalent. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know. I think about like Cori Bush and Jamal Bowman getting primaried by AIPAC funding, right? Even like Rashida Tlaib being censured. Like there are like a number of different like actual pro-Palestinian activists who've spoken up against Israel before, like 10 months ago, that have actually seen material like pushback for, After Ludwig actually, Platter called for the release of houses in October 2024. I don't remember the first time he talked about like calling. I don't know, because he didn't have his post up, so who knows. You understand my point.
Donovan McKinney, my fellow Justice Democrats, where we were going to be talking about what we were going to need to do to not only change our party, but to fight for a kind of politics that really meaningfully helps working families and uplifts them. We saw several of those venues cancel on us at the very last minute. And, while they can cancel and take us out of the buildings that we were holding in these rallies, they can't stop us from building this movement. So we took it to the People's House. We took it to the Capitol steps, and we gathered hundreds, almost over 1,000 Denver voters that wanted to hear our message and stood strong with us.
Denver is not New York, but I wonder if you have taken any lessons from watching Zohran Mamdani's slate of progressive Democrats win on last Tuesday.
Denver's not New York, but Denver actually rates socialism higher than we rate capitalism by 4 points. And, when I talk to voters about what we're doing and why I'm a democratic socialist, I remind them that we have socialism already, right? It's in the roads that we drive on. It's in the schools we send our kids to. It's in the fire stations we call upon. I'm just asking that we extend that security to our healthcare, to our housing, to our nutritional food, to our higher education, so that we're actually meeting the basic needs of everyday working families in this country. So that we're not just getting by and surviving, so that we're actually thriving. And in the wealthiest, most powerful country on earth, we're not asking for much.
You mentioned healthcare, and one of your top policies is Medicare for All, but Diana DeGette is a co-sponsor of the Medicare for All Act in Congress.
So was like 50 other people who are very clearly not for Medicare for All. Like co-sponsoring a piece of legislation does not mean that you actually support like that legislation. Funnily enough. I know it sounds counterintuitive, right? But it's just like it's a political play to like get somebody on your side. So it's basically quid pro quo. Like you co-sponsor this, and then you will agree with this and this later date, kind of thing. You know. A YouTuber who left the U.S. and moved to, I think, Ireland. Oh yeah, that was Leisha Miller. She was worried for her family because she makes leftist videos, but like she's a white woman and wasn't being targeted. But it seems like she was afraid of being in Minnesota during the protest occupation, which I get. She painted as though she was running for persecution, though, and it rubbed me the wrong way. Yeah, no, I saw that in the Discord. I didn't watch the video though. Even though Kiers is polling, I can't find it. I'm pretty sure it's neck and neck. It's close.
Are there any dividing lines between the two of you on Medicare?
I'm pretty sure she closed the gap to, I think her name was Julie Degat. The gap is pretty close. They were cooking Leisha in the comments, but they moved on. Maybe we'll get it tomorrow.
Care for all?
I missed a lot of stuff, in case you couldn't tell. Diane Degat. She was up 5 points last I saw. Points slightly ahead, I think. It depends.
Yeah, the dividing line is how we actually get it done. There is no world where we pass Medicare for all while there is still a majority of members of Congress that are taking money from the very health insurance companies that would effectively be legislated out of existence. It's the same reason why the National Nurses United's policy director also expressed concern for members of Congress that are co-sponsoring this bill while also taking money from big health insurance companies. And we have to pass Medicare for all. We have to get that done in the next Democratic administration. That's how we MAGA-proof our future. That's how we guarantee that whatever sycophant fills Donald Trump's shoes in 2032 and tries to lay blame on all of our vulnerable communities for why the system is rigged, we can point to a piece of legislation that we passed that meaningfully helped working families. And the only way we get Medicare for all passed is by getting rid of the Democrats that are actively standing in that way, by taking money from the same interests that don't want to see Medicare for all passed.
You have made your personal story as an immigrant to this country a part of your campaign, and you have talked about how your father spoke to you about Democrats as a child, which is why you wanted to be a Democrat, and sort of part of your origin story is why you decided to run in this race. Talk to me about why your personal life story makes you suited to be the congressperson in Colorado at this moment.
Yeah, I immigrated to Denver in '98 when I was a baby and watched my parents navigate this brand new country, navigate the immigration process. And once they became naturalized and chose the party that they wanted to belong to, I asked him why he chose the party of Democrats. And he said, because this is the party that fights for working people. This is the party that got fair labor laws, the New Deal, Social Security. This is the party that fights for working people. But it didn't just happen overnight. People had to push the party to fight for these kinds of policies. That was organized.
Is she Gen Z? Yeah, she's... How old am I? She's 4 years... Wait, is she Gen Z? She's 4 years older than I am. Wait, yeah, no, I think she is Gen Z. I think we had the same conversation when I asked Maya if she was Gen Z, because Maya said she was 29, I think. I was like, is that Gen Z? And I was like, yeah, it is Gen Z. And I was like, oh.
That was dreamers, that were people pushing leadership in our party to fight for working families. That's what we just saw in New York City, the voters pushing the party to elect leaders that are going to stand up to the special interests and the billionaires and the corporations that are responsible for burning our planet and keeping our prices high. I think that's what we're going to see here in Denver on Tuesday, and I think we're seeing it happening all across the country.
Moderate Democrats are worried that this shift to the left or policies put forward by Democratic Socialists will hurt Democrats' long-term electoral chances. And we've heard it over and over again, yet Democratic Socialists continue to win. What do you say to that criticism from the establishment part of the party?
I'd point out that they've shown no evidence for why any of these policies would hurt the party in the long term. In fact, there is a mountain of evidence that shows that policies like Medicare for All, Housing First, and universal child care would be immensely helpful to working families and therefore helpful to the party. At the end of the day, it is cheaper to house someone than to leave them homeless. It is cheaper to heal someone than it is to let them go sick. It is cheaper to give young families child care than it is to let them figure it out for themselves or force one of them to stay out of the workforce. These are all common sense policies that have the support of a super majority of the voters of this party. I would recommend that the moderate voters that are afraid of what they're seeing right now actually just talk to their voters and see that this is what the party is actually building towards.
Mila Quiros, Democratic candidate for Colorado's 1st Congressional District. Really nice to talk to you. Thanks for being here this morning.
Thank you, Jacob.
Yeah. So the election is today. So I'm pretty sure it's today, right? Thank you. She was a lawyer? Does she have a law degree? She does have a law degree. Okay, she had a law degree and she was going back to get her PhD? And then she kicked her out of her program? Okay. Bro, she want to be me so bad. She want to be me so bad getting 3 degrees. Kicked her out of her firm. Yeah, but she had to said that and her PhD program also kicked her out. That's cool though. That's sick. I like her. I'm a fan. I hope she wins. I'll give her a follow on Twitter. She kicked out or you're not a real one? True. Judging by a couple of years. That's true. She does. Indeed. Not have to go to law school. Broke social thing for the 13 months, by the way. I don't know if I said that. It's gonna be a very close race tonight. Yeah, I think she has a solid chance though. Lisa and her in Summer Lee are my favorite politicians. True. I support all of the black socialist politicians. Twitter follows as close as you give to an endorsement. I mean, that's what I like her. I think that's more of an endorsement, technically speaking. I don't see I like a lot of politicians. I don't like a lot of politicians. House is going to be live in Denver canvassing later today. I knew he was going to be in Denver. His burner account just makes her quote, to be honest. True. I saw it on from CNN. CNN keeps posting her W's. CNN's like, Daria Lisa had a secret account where she said that Vladimir Lenin was based. I was just like, sick. Trying to find it. I just scrolled past it and I missed it. Don't you hate when you're scrolling and you refresh it and so it's gone? Maybe it's in my bookmarks. Hold on. Also, did y'all see the Scott Wiener thing? Does New York have recalls like California does? Why are they still doing hate pieces on her? Just it's freaking CNN. Deleted tweets on Daria Lisa's account have favorable references to to communist leaders and Marxism. What's the references? Where is it at? I cannot get over the fact that the universe has fostered or foisted upon us the perfect illustration of literally every form of capitalism. People are still like, we can't be communists because there won't be enough types of soup. Okay, yeah, she's a Marxist, bro. That's such a Marxist thing to say. This is the entire conversation around like the amount of bananas, you know, or different types of or brands of bananas or something, or Oreos. Such a very, very Marxist. What else was on the post? Wait, she's also a PhD student? Okay, that's where I'm going wrong, bro. I'm just a master student, bro. That's an L for me. First one was fresh. Glad you popped off. Oh, my Zoran tweet. Yeah, it did kind of well. Going to be them so bad? No, they're copying me from the future. Chat, like my tweet, by the way. It's at 199,000. Give me a little like, Cease. Give me a little like. Give me a beep, 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 beep. What was the tweet? New York City Mayor Zoran Mamdani says that he does not support changing the Constitution to allow him to run for president. I think the Constitution looks good the way it is. A leader who does not want the crown is the one who deserves it the most, is what I said. Comparison is the killer of joy. This is true, but they're comparing themselves to me, actually. 100K before the end of the stream? True. What did you say? BSU student whose victory since shotwaves throughout the Democratic establishment has been under fire for a since deleted Twitter account. Honestly, her biggest L is deleting the Twitter account. News reported on by CNN included phrases such as seize the means of production, based, along with the calls to abolish the police, based, prisons, based, and borders, based. Other controversial tweets include the one that said Black and Arab men both fetishize ugly colonizer women. Okay, this is also true. Right? Like, the fetishization that, you know, I can speak to Black men specifically do towards what you could see as colonizer women is a thing that does happen. And another that describes wiping her dirty hands on the American flag in lieu of a napkin. Okay, that's kind of funny. We're gonna make this joke every day, yeah. And this kind of just shows that like she's kind of about it, you know what I mean? Kind of about it. I like her. I don't know. And I also want to say that I defended her when this came up when we talked about the Geese article. Yeah, you know the infamous Geese article. Hold on. This one. It has proven itself to be correct. Zoran Mamdani, there is no socialism without Black socialists. In this article, it's talking about specifically that Zoran Mamdani should endorse Darya Liza as part of his like slate of endorsements. And Hassan asked you about the Geese article. That's how I found out about it. He did ask me about the Geese article. Again, I tell you, Hassan asks every single Black socialist he can about the Geese article. It is a good article, though. It's a good article. It is this. She also said her winning means posting won't ruin your political career. I mean, we already knew that from like freaking Grand Platter. You know what I mean? Your career's fine. Right? But her posts weren't even like that. They were just correct. Bringing it up to Hartzell, he didn't. Oh, that's shame. I think Hartzell would have agreed with it. Which actually, I have the Hartzell post here. Which we'll get to Hartzell as well. Honestly, maybe that's what it was, right? Maybe over my break, one thing that I did see was a lot of Black socialists finally getting some shine and attention, and it made me feel like something that I said resonated in general. And that made me happy. I like seeing Black socialists get a little bit of attention. Because there wasn't much attention on Black socialism before, or Black socialists before, you know? So I'll take that. That is a W. We'll get back to this as well. You know, let's put this clip.
Leadership, the Congressional Black Caucus has been seen as a way to defend entrenched political power and not create new opportunities for young Black men and women that want to rise through the ranks. You've said too many Black faces are being bought up in service of a genocide, in service of tax breaks for the rich. You've called out Hakeem Jeffries taking Palantir money while Palantir profits off of bombing children. What is your critique of Black political establishment and the Congressional Black Caucus, and what's your vision to change it from the inside if elected?
I've been extremely disappointed with the Congressional Black Caucus. Remember, formerly the conscience of the Congress. If that is our conscience, if this is where we are, then I think that we need a new conscience. I mean,
ironically, DSA and Hassan have seemed to pivot from just defending Platter to platforming Black socialists. I think, to be fair, I think Hassan pivoted, and then because Hassan is such a large voice, whatever his attention is on becomes like what people are talking about at the time. Which then, so Hassan kind of forced everybody else to pivot away from Graham Plattner a little bit, right? Not to say that people not to say that they won't talk about Graham Plattner, because they will. And he's going to win anyway, which is what I've been saying, is that he's going to win anyway. There's no reason to like do this defense of him in the way that people were doing, right? He didn't need the attention. They need the attention, right? They need the attention. They need the shine and the focus. You know what I mean? That's it. It's true.
how do I say this? And I guess it touches on what I said a little bit earlier, right? It's just the weaponization of one's blackness in service to capital, in service to empire, in service to, in some cases, a black bourgeois. Why isn't the Congressional Black Caucus championing Medicare for all?
Yeah.
Why isn't the Congressional Black Caucus championing the War Powers Resolution? Why are we taking AIPAC money?
And this is actually very interesting because Hassan actually talked about this. He showed my tweet on stream. And I can always tell when Hassan shows my tweet on stream because I will get pinged in the chat. So that's why I keep my pings open, just so I can know what's happening. And it was specifically about the Congressional Black Caucus, right, being the champions of Medicare for all before the DSA was really like foundationally in the Democratic Party. And right, and I said in my tweet, if that's true, then why does it seem like the Democratic establishment, then it seems like the Democratic establishment doesn't really care about like the issues that Black people are being faced with. If Black people are being like, hey, we like Medicare for all, and the establishment is like, F you, we're gonna not do that. At what point do Black people say, hey, maybe we should, step away from this dynamic? You know what I mean? Let's see if I can find it. What day was it? I don't remember what day it was. Wait, I found it. I'm a genius.
The ranks of the Congressional Black Caucus with true radical democratic socialists. Ironically enough, this is the same dynamic that I have maintained. This is the same dynamic that I've mentioned, right? That like
I'm just saying that
there
we
are
can
other
push them to be better on some issues. No, I agree. I don't think the Congressional Black Caucus is like, completely worthless, right? The problem is that they're old. If you want to know what the actual problem is with the Congressional Black Caucus, it's that they're old. Like you have like Maxine Waters being like, yo, I'm gonna run for re-election at the age of 87. Right? Democrats want new Hill leaders at 87. Maxine Waters isn't budging. Right? That's a problem. That's an issue. Like, they're too old and they're too entrenched. And so they don't want to even shift on any meaningfully progressive policies, partially because some of them don't believe that, right? But for those who do believe in these progressive policies, they don't want to lose their favor with the establishment because then they'll get pushed out. You know? Congressional Black Caucus has been accused of being a black presence for white liberalism. I feel like we can all do better. I mean, yes, sure. My point is that, like, the Congressional Black Caucus doesn't have to be that. Right? They don't have to be that mouthpiece speaking for white liberalism. Right? And it's something that I said in my tweet here. Right? There was a time where the progressive policy that you see the DSA championing was done and spoken about from like the black people in the Democratic Party. The reason why it's not happening anymore is that those same black people are so entrenched that they don't want to leave, like Maxine Waters, like Jim Clyburn, right? Including people like Hakeem Jeffries, who is not like older in the same way, but like he's entrenched in the Democratic establishment politics. You know?
Democrats you've never heard from that are just like regular.
Clyburn's seat got eviscerated. And he's like, I still want to run. How can I run? They literally gerrymandered his seat away from him in South Carolina. He was just like, I still want to run. Hold on, let's make one of it. Help them set it up. Yeah. Here. Or help them cut a map to protect himself, and they got it 2 years later. South Carolina moving to redistricting. Moving towards redistricting. Full House has the clear motion today. One Democrat left in the state, 85-year-old Representative Jim Clyburn, who has been in Congress for 33 years, and he's out, by the way. House Republicans voted to advance a plan to draw Jim Clyburn out of the district shortly before 1 a.m. this morning. The Senate is expected to start deliberations this afternoon, while the Richland County judge weighs in the legality of this House process. Like, it's just that's just it. And that's what happens when you are so tied to entrenched establishment politics. It will not protect you, and it will not save you. The Congressional Black Caucus, the younger ones, should see, oh, we're losing a lot of power here. And the establishment is also losing a lot of power, right? They should reach an olive branch out to like the DSA and the left-wing coalition of the Democratic Party to try to bridge that gap because they can survive. You know, this is not about LeBron being outdated.
Establishment Democrats that are in the Congressional Black Caucus, for example, that will just as easily caucus with the new plank of power within the Democratic Party because they're not as like ideologically minded and diehard defenders of third way neoliberalism. So if things move in that direction, who knows? I just don't think Jeffries is going to be the guy who will push for that change because he is specifically groomed. He is specifically groomed by Nancy Pelosi for this position.
There's been a massive boom for the Democratic established Democrats for many years. Only now, as power diminishes and its challengers are rising against establishment figures, is he true feeling the heat? I don't even think that he's been that much of a boon for establishment Democrats, right? Establishment Democrats have been like skirting by on like the basics of like anti-Republican politics, right? And Jim Clyburn has gotten away with it because I think he's been protected as a useful black face in the Democratic Party. You know? Clyburn been very reliable for them. No, he's been reliable, but he hasn't been useful. as far as like people think that he is, right? I guess he's useful in as far as like he gives like the white liberal establishment ties to the black community because he has ties to the black community, right? But I don't think he's like electorally useful. Like he's not helping them pass any policy. Does that make sense? Like he's not like, you know, he's not, to be fair, I don't think Democrats want to pass policies holistically. The time it was 2020 helping Biden. I don't know if it was used for other control. He's somebody who will fall in line with little or no pushback. I mean, doesn't he have a lot of sway with establishment black Dem voters? Not really in the grand scheme of things, because like establishment black Dem voters are going to vote for the Democrats anyway. You know? Like it depends only very narrowly through like the primary season for the presidency. Like that's literally pretty much it. He pushes people away from Bernie Sanders and towards Joe Biden. That's literally the extent of his usefulness as it pertains to like with the black establishment voters. But even that's extraordinarily narrow, right? He's the person to be like, you guys remember Joe Biden? He was Obama's VP. You guys love Obama. You're black. That's kind of his role. But he's not like useful in it as far as like he's like actually getting the Democrats to make Democratic voters happy. His role is not to do that. His role is to feed back into the establishment. Right? And now he can't even do that because the Democrats are so unpopular that nobody likes them. Right? Nobody wants a Joe Biden. Right? People are like, no, I'll take a Bernie Sanders, but I want something even more radical at this point. Right? So there's no use for a Jim Clyburn. And on top of that, the Democrats are fighting on a multi-front war because they're losing to the Republicans. They're losing to redistricting from the Republicans. And they're getting beat by the progressive wing. The last thing they're going to think about is protecting Jim Clyburn. They're going to think about protecting their own first. They're going to protect their own seat, their own, what's the word? Like their own electability. That's why Jim Clyburn is out. And so my entire point with saying this is that the Congressional Black Caucus should do outreach, right, to the progressive wing, because they have to realize that their time is numbered and they're not going to be protected by the establishment. Right? That's what I'm saying with this comment. Also, Emily got banned on Twitch for apparently distracted driving, I think.
If this is true, then maybe we should ask the establishment if the establishment is really serving the interests of black people because they're standing in the way of all of it. Yeah. One of the biggest problems with the CBC, with the Congressional Black Caucus, is that it's one of the biggest like boomer coalitions out there, and they have been an impediment to new black voices coming into Congress, or at least the type of black voices that are coming into Congress being, you know, establishment Democrats for the most part.
I should not switch to a be right back screen while she's driving yet. It's actually insane. Content. I almost crashed because she didn't check her blind spot. Yes.
Okay. Like there's less young black voter participation. There's young black participation in politics in general. And I do think that the entrenched power that the Congressional Black Caucus represents within the Democratic Party is unironically a big factor in that. For like the last couple of decades, the CBC has been pretty fucking aggressively a loyal soldier of the entrenched power within the party. Clyburn is obviously a great example of this, but the way that the Congressional Black Caucus has moved has been another great example of this. Now,
since Clinton in '92, the Congressional Black Caucus' job has been to keep every black person who is closer to Jesse Jackson out than the Obama types. Yeah. Because that's what the establishment wants, right? The establishment says jump, Congressional Black Caucus says how high. And this is a moment where they should realize that there are no, there's no winning with the establishment. They're not going to, like, they're not going to save you. They're not going to protect you or your seats. Right? And so you might as well be as progressive as you historically were. Will that work? Who knows? If it doesn't work, the Congressional Black Caucus as it currently stands won't exist for much longer. So NPR, yeah, we covered the Alito thing. Honestly, we broke the news here about the Alito retiring. Right here. I have the actual article, which we might read after I cover the Congressional Black Caucus. There's so much news. There's legitimately so much news. There's even stuff that I haven't even gotten to yet because there's so much news. Gosh darn it, don't take 2 weeks off of your job.
This is also true, though. Here, this is something that Michael Hardaway brings up. The policy DNA is the Black Caucus. The marketing is Democratic Socialist.
Mamdani and the DSA, these are just reheated Congressional Black Caucus policies over the last 55 years. I mean, housing affordability, healthcare. I mean, John Conyers, who was a founding member of the CBC, introduced a Medicare for All bill 23 years ago. And so these aren't new things.
So Sean is absolutely correct. Says if this is true, then maybe we should ask if the establishment is really serving the interests of black people because they're standing in the way of all of it. There's a reason why many of the DSA endorsed candidates recently are black. There are inroads the Black Caucus can and should be building, but they are not. One must ask why. That's true. Chris Rabb, Maylon Quiros, Daria Liza.
Yeah. And it's infinitely frustrating because this is a moment where entrenched establishment politics should wake up to be like, we are losing a lot of favor. We need to correct that. Right? And you even see that a little bit when it comes to the way that the establishment operates around Zohran Mamdani. They don't like Zohran Mamdani, but they have to respect him because he's so popular. Right? And so they will reach out a hand towards Zohran Mamdani. They'll even reach out a hand towards Graham Plattner. Right? Like the Chuck Schumer reaching out a hand and calling Graham Plattner and trying to build those inroads. That's what the Congressional Black Caucus should be doing to the progressive, like socialist black people who are currently coming in because they are so popular. They are breaking the established line of what was thought for Democrats, but they're not doing that because they're scared, right? They're scared that if they validate those candidates who win the election, that means that they're up next as moderates, right? But if that's the case, then they do need to be replaced. Is Tim Scott in the CBC? Like the Republican Tim Scott? I don't think Tim Scott is in the Congressional Black Caucus. Do you think the establishment genuinely fears Mamdani, or do they simply rebuke him? No, they're fearful, right? I think originally they rebuked him, right? I think just saw join. Okay, I think originally they rebuked him, but I think now because he's like kind of, they're like Mamdani and his endorsements are beating entrenched establishment politics. Like Daria Liza beat I think 13-year incumbent. You know what I mean? That's scary. Mamdani existing as a figure itself, it's just like, whatever. But like, 10-year established incumbent. Right? But like Mamdani existing is like whatever. Mamdani endorsements, like unseating people like them is scary. Unseating establishments, like establishment candidates, that is what scares them. Because they're going to have to face re-election at some point. And what they should be doing now is they should be reaching a hand out and being like, hey, let's work something, let's build something. They should see the writing on the wall that Hakeem Jeffries needs to go. And they put their head down. They walk themselves over to the progressive side, and then they build inroads there. because Hakeem Jeffries is going to go. He's going to lose his election, if not this year, right? The next time he's up for re-election. Because things are only going to get worse. People are going to get more and more frustrated. Right? And this is why I think this is a Zoran L as well, where he should let Chiose fight against Hakeem Jeffries. But he should have let Chi be a challenger. Because it would have given like actual weight to that dynamic. You know what I mean? But like he kind of pulled G back. You would much rather face Republicans than the person that makes them look lesser than. Yeah. I think the establishment Jeffries is beyond scared now because of the endorsement against him from Mamdani in 2028 would cook him. Yeah, it would have cooked him this year too, but you know. And cutting their ties and taking money from corporations, special interests, like AIPAC. Yeah, but that can be mitigated specifically because, like, if it's between taking money from AIPAC and losing an election, they're gonna choose to win the election, right? If that's something that the left has, like, the left has over AIPAC, is that money can come from anywhere, right? So if it's between AIPAC or, you know, you win your election, they're going to choose winning your election over AIPAC for some reason. And if they don't, they'll just get primary. It won't be a problem anyway. You know what I mean? Here, I want to finish this Hartzell clip. I'm tired. How did I do this every single day?
Period.
Why aren't they the most outspoken when it comes to genocide in Gaza?
And that's one of the reasons why I ran initially in the 5th against Congressman Cleaver, is that, you know, that seat before we were gerrymandered was a D plus 1,000, you know, like that should have been a seat that sets the agenda for the nation, a radical, bold, progressive, leftist, socialist agenda. And that is just not what we had. And you know, I think, for example, Wesley Bell in St. Louis.
About that, a lot of these people move like they're coasting based off their strategy of seeing how far this do nothing goes. Yeah, but again, I don't think that would work under my worldview where they just get primary, right? My goal, my idea of like any electoral politics is you just throw bodies at every election. You should have a candidate who is a socialist running in every election, right? You won't win them all, but you'll win a lot. And I think this current electoral cycle kind of showed that, right? You won't win them all, but you'll win a lot. You know,
case in point. You know, we're not endorsed by Jamal Bowman, but he's a friend of the campaign. We saw what happened to Jamal Bowman with Latimer in New York.
I mean,
and even into my specific example, the person that reached out to me was a Black woman.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a shame. It is disappointing. I'm not sure if I'd be allowed in the Black Caucus, to be honest with you. I'm going to try to, I'll try to get in, but I'm going to be very blunt, is that the era of do nothing goes to everybody. And so we're done with doing nothing. And we need, again, what happened to the conscience of the Congress? What happened to your moral clarity? What happened to love and liberation?
Yeah.
What happened to any of that? And so, no, I haven't, you know, I haven't gotten, no one's reached out from the CBC to me. But my number is always open, and I would love to have a conversation, because I would love to tell our folks some things that we need to do better, or just do, period. Because right now it's been very disappointing, especially, you know, to shill for apartheid is just a level of, not even cognitive dissonance. It's just a level of fecklessness, a level of corruption and sellout. You know, what Ta-Nehisi Coates said, you know, there's a familiarity, right? He felt a familiarity when he was there.
Yeah.
How could you not? And we need to start calling Israel an apartheid state. It's apartheid Israel. It's not Israel. It's apartheid Israel.
Yeah.
And we need to call out our folks in the Congressional Black Caucus, and I plan on doing that. And that doesn't mean I'm not mean. In fact, I'm a pretty affable guy, but our folks need more than window dressing and take a knee photo ops.
Yeah.
Nancy Pelosi shade. Oh, they make the distinction between liberal and socialist inescapable. incessant juxtaposition is mandatory. We must not allow liberals and conservatives to define us before people ever see us. I think a good example of that is, I don't remember who did it. I saw a liberal online. I didn't save it because it was so crazy. But basically, it was like, I think it was in response to Daria Liza's old tweets, right? Or something. And somebody was like, we need to have more socialists in office or whatever. And somebody replied to them and they're like, we need to have more democratic socialists in office. We have to make it very clear. We want to have, they think Sweden and not Venezuela or something. Let me see if I can find it. I can see if I can find it. Was it Venezuela or Cuba? I don't know what they said. Oh, I found it. I found it. I found it. I found it. It was this. It was about Atlanta. This person said a socialist Atlanta would be power we've never seen before. And this person, Dem of the South, said, correction, a democratic socialist Atlanta. The distinction is important. Think Sweden, not Cuba. And this person said, no, I said it first. I said it right the first time. Right? Like that's my fear. That's my fear. Because, like, as the chatter was saying, you don't want to let liberals define what you are. You feel me? And I think like that's the fear that I have with like the DSA getting prominence. It's good as it warms people up to the label of socialist, right? But it can be potentially dangerous when Democrats are like, guys, I'm a democratic socialist, and they're just like, you know, anti-socialist. You know what I mean? And they're basically social. It's like Ethan Klein. Ethan Klein called himself a democratic socialist because he didn't know what that was, what that meant. And then when he found out that like socialists are against capitalism, he's like, but I love capitalism. I must be a social democrat instead, you know? It's like that conversation, you know? Democratic socialist is a name, redundant name anyway. It's a name. I got San Francisco DSA. We're just talking about posers. It's effectively the same thing as jocks liking Nirvana in the 1900s. Not 1900s, the 90s. I can't read. I guess similar, but it's not even necessarily about being a poser. It's that this person is genuinely confused. This person genuinely thinks that they are a socialist because they saw Zohran Mamdani say universal child care, you know? And it's up to us to be very clear about what does it mean to be socialist? What is socialism, right? Somebody has to bring the theory to this conversation. You know? Docs can't like Nirvana. Guess not. And I want to, we finished this clip. This screenshot looks like Hassan dapped himself up. Anyway. Here, I'll end with this because I'm tired. Ghost did RS ticket for the 17 months. Stephen Juggens ticket for the 16 months as well. And Penguin ticket for the 5 months. Much appreciated. Feeling confused is you being more optimistic than me. Like, am I being more optimistic than you? I don't know. I'm just giving you my thoughts on things. know a guy who called himself a dim sock and thought that Bernie Sanders' universal healthcare was too far. His only stance was that he was against gerrymandering. There are liberals who are against gerrymandering. Like, I mean, he's a liberal, so. Oh, I just use my government name, Don the Black. Well, my parents called me. I watched the World Cup. The colonizers getting clapped and the memes are hitting unseen levels. I saw a hilarious meme that was like, Messi is crying because his ankle is turning black. I thought that was kind of funny. I don't know anything about the World Cup or soccer, but like that was funny. It made me laugh.
I noticed that.
Oh, and the Morocco drama. I've kept up with Towelgate. Brazil Twitter popping off. I have seen apparently Miku is now Brazilian officially. The Brazilians stole Miku from Japan after they beat Japan in the World Cup. Miku no longer belongs to Japan. Davide Miku no longer exists. So I know some of the memes. You know, it's sports. So they won Miku fair and square.
That the budget doesn't appear to include any increased numbers for NY. I noticed that the budget doesn't appear to include any increased numbers for NYPD headcount. Can you explain the rationale for that?
Yes. So I've been talking to all agency heads about ways to find savings, and Commissioner Tisch and I were able to identify ways to keep the NYPD headcount at the originally authorized 35,000 while also meeting all of our crime-fighting needs and implementing the new programs that were announced earlier this year.
Thank you. I noticed that the budget doesn't appear to include...
Like, again, this isn't the most impactful thing, but it is good politicking. And I will give him credit on doing good politicking. Right? I would have liked for the headcount to go down, personally. But this is like stage one of the true defund the police. I think that covers a lot. We talked about a lot. We didn't cover the Alito apparently retiring, potentially not retiring, but apparently retiring, but potentially not retiring. Oh, they changed the picture. Here's the actual article itself, though. It says Justice Samuel, and this is the last one we'll talk about. Justice Samuel Alito, who wrote the opinion on overturning Roe v. Wade, retires. Justice Samuel Alito wrote the Supreme Court opinion on reversing Roe v. Wade is retiring. A court announced Tuesday. The court did not announce that Tuesday. Alito was nominated to the court in 2005 by President George W. Bush to fill a vacant seat by Justice Sandra Day O'Connor. In the history of the Supreme Court, to name a few, names of a few justices are linked with a single very famous infamous decision. Chief Justice John Marshall in his groundbreaking decision in 1803, declaring the courts the power to strike down laws that violate the Constitution. Chief Justice Roger Taney for his infamous decision on Dred Scott, declaring that no African American enslaved or free, is that the word that he used? I don't know. Could be a citizen of the United States, a decision that led in part to the Civil War. Chief Justice Earl Warren, from his 1954 decision declaring racial segregation in public schools to be unconstitutional. In our own times, Alito's name is indelibly linked with the court's opinion that overturning half of a century worth of decisions declaring that women have the right to an abortion. This goes on for a while. I want to know how they came to the conclusion he was leaving, though. They said it was announced on Tuesday. That's today. Talk about them starting the limits on campaign finance. I didn't talk about it. I saw it though. I saw a stupid picture of JD Vance's face. I wanted to scroll past it so far, so much. Hmm. I don't know. There's so much Supreme Court stuff, bro. I don't know. I covered a lot today. Wayback Machine was said those announcements on Friday in the article. Oh, this is the original. The Wayback Machine may say Friday. This is the original. This is the original article. So if you need it, I got it for you. But yeah. Any final thoughts? I need a break. Here, I'll show you this. For Taylor Raine's coverage? No, thank you. Supreme Court strikes down coordinated spending caps, unwinding campaign finance limits before midterms. Bro, Elon Musk will buy every election, and that is it. And Tyler Brown with the Lakers, W. You see this? That's a funny thing. I did see this. Okay, fine. I'll play it. This will play us out. Today you've been missed. Well, you're gonna miss me again soon because I may not be streaming tomorrow or the day after or the day after or the day after.
Anything you could say. So let me ask you. I heard that you like gay porn. Is that true?
What is wrong with Thomas Massie, bro?
Anything you could say. So let me ask you. I heard that you like gay porn. Is that true?
Congressman, I'm not. I just want to give you a chance. Your
I'm
side.
Giving you
of
a
it.
chance to give me your side.
I'm not going to get into
Are
that.
you a real news organization or not? No, come back, man. All you got to say is you don't like it. That you haven't been to those websites.
Of course,
all right.
Of course, I don't like it.
Really?
But thank you.
That's not what I heard.
See, this is what living at Fox News. This is what working at Fox News gets you, bro. This is what working at Fox News gets you. You can't just say, yeah, it's my favorite. My favorite pastime. He works at Fox News. You know what I mean?
Thank you for your time. Yeah, that was my just giving you a chance.
He didn't say no or yes because he's embarrassed. He didn't expect to get hit with a shakedown.
To respond, that's all.
And you're with Fox?
But thank you.
Is that a real news organization?
Yep.
Is this what you do for a living, man?
Congressman, we're good. Thank you. Anything you could say.
So let me ask you. I heard that you like gay porn. Is that true?
Congressman, I'm not.
I have a few questions. One, how did Thomas Massie come about this information? Like, did he just have like Oppo in his back pocket of everybody who may walk up to him? Like, he's like, what's your name? Oh, Johnny. Johnny, you killed your childhood cat. And this was just the gay poor guy. He was made up on the spot. That would be even funnier. Because you could just be like, no. Because if he made it up on the spot, I believe him. Right? I believe him. Because of his reaction. The video from that guy's perspective, I'm going to find it. Because he could have just said no. He could have been like, bro, what are you talking about? Also, I love being back on my main computer. Because I can have a million tabs open.
To clear up the stuff your ex is saying about you with the NDA, that you pressured her to sign an NDA for wrongful termination. What is that true? What's she saying about you?
Who are you with?
With Fox Digital.
It's all false.
And what she said about you and Boebert having an intimate relationship.
It's all false.
Lauren Boebert? What is she doing? She killed a dog. I'm pretty sure was that her.
I think she's out there.
Oh no, that was Kirsten Ohm. You're right. That was Noam. Boebert was the person who got intimate in the movie theater. That one. Oh, was it during a musical? That's even worse.
Saying it, was it because of the primary, ahead of the primary? What do you think is motivating it?
When did you all become a tabloid? Seriously, dude.
Well, no, I just thought I would give you a chance to respond because you've never been able to tell your side of the story. That's all.
There was one who met her husband as a teenager that flashed her in public the first time they met. Yeah, I remember that.
But anything you could say.
So let me ask you. I heard that you like gay porn. Is that true?
Gosh, man, I'm not. I just want to give you a chance. Your side.
I'm giving you a chance to give me your side.
I'm not going to get into.
Are you a real?
Nah, he gave up too easily. I believe him. I believe him. I think Thomas Massey was trying to like prove a point about Fox News being a tabloid, and he actually hit this guy where it hurts. I believe it. I think it was made up on the spot. He was trying to make a point about like you guys just saying false things, and this guy just like he was like, "How did he know? How did he know?"
Just want to give you a chance. Your
I'm
side.
giving you a chance to give me your side.
I'm not going to get into.
Are you a real news organization or not? No, come back, man. All you got to say is you don't like it. That you haven't been to those websites.
Of course,
All right.
Of course, I don't like it.
Really?
But thank you.
That's not what I heard.
Thank you for your time. Yeah, that was my. Just giving you a chance to respond. That's all.
And you're with Fox?
But thank you.
Is that a real news organization?
Yeah, nah, he gave up too easily. He gave up to I believe him.
Is this what you do for a living, man?
He's also Fox News, so like, you know, it wouldn't be outside the realm of possibility. So you know, like I think isn't it true that like every RNC like grinder goes down around the convention? Okay. Exactly this. The last RNC grinder servers crashed due to overuse. Yeah, I think it happened twice. It happened one before that too. And I think there was a John Oliver bit where like they but I think it was just this isn't relevant, but like they put escort ads targeting specifically what would be Republican Congress people by or via what's it called? Like demographic metrics or whatever. That happened in a John Oliver video. I'll have to see if I can find it. Well, that's it for me, chat. We covered a lot today. I'm gonna go get some food. Yeah. We got some food. Got some moving in. Oh, I haven't moved in yet. I haven't even got my keys yet. Yeah, I already talked about Extra Emily being banned. I want to see what she was banned for. Hold on. I saw it when I was on my second monitor. Oh wait, has she been unbanned? Getting us to eat nothing. She doesn't even check. Honestly, I think Emily's just a bad driver. Like, I think it has nothing to do with like being on stream. I think she's just this has been a consistent thing for her. She's consistently like almost gotten into accidents, ran red lights. Like, I think she's just not a good driver.
Face, moisturize, if even. Is that it?
Okay, please put your hands on the steering wheel. Please. Please.
Not healthy too? I mean, I would do a body shower.
Please put your hands on the look, Jesus. Sorry, I can't do it. 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 I hate it so much. I hate being in cars with people who do this. I am an overly cautious driver, chat. I hate being in cars with people who like have their seats like this. They're like this. Or like, nope, I will walk. I was in a car with somebody who actually did steer with their knees. I hate it. I hate it so much. Yes, like actually with their knees. I can't even show you how to do it because it's with my knees. Craziness. How do you steer with your knees? People try. But I've been driving for 10 years now. And I've never gotten in an accident, specifically because I don't drive like a maniac. If you're not turning with your knees, you just keep going straight that way. But then why not just use your hand? One of your hands, or both, maybe. Because little variations in like the wheel moving get worse and worse and worse doing the same movement. As you try to overcorrect with your knees. You have a lot less control. I just don't like it. I don't like it. So how would I text or do a puzzle or solve a Rubik's Cube? Which one? I could probably do this one while I'm driving. I wouldn't, obviously. You shouldn't either. Cube head. I just have a thing about solving Rubik's Cubes. I learned algorithms to solve this one. And then it can easily solve this one with that. And then this one I learned how to solve intuitively. It was very difficult. I did it yesterday. Because I packed up all my stuff before coming back to North Carolina. And I was sitting in an empty room that only had a air mattress in it. And I just had this Rubik's Cube. Edges first. That's actually not how I did it. Also, I don't think that's correct. You do the center first. Maybe I'll do it on my second channel. I will solve a Rubik's Cube on my second channel. Not stopping stream until I solve every Rubik's Cube. It's kind of a funny challenge. What is this? I didn't stop clicking on links. No more links. No more links. I did see that. I'll cover it tomorrow, maybe. No more links. I have to go. These made into 3x3 and solve it? Yes, essentially. Okay. Bye, YouTube chat. How do people are on YouTube, by the way? $46. We maxed out at like 93 people today on YouTube. That's